Brian, the screen is black.
I fixed it.
But it must be the delay on the live show. There it is.
We don't sleep to dream, we sleep to build stamina. Energy to do our thing, get your camera. This show is about to begin, so sit down and buckle it in. Let's go! Oh yeah! Welcome to Unleashed Friday mornings. My name is Brian, that is Shane, and you are amazing. First off, I want to say No Money G gifted 5 Podcast Unleashed memberships. You, my friend, are a BAMF. Thank you so much.
Thanks. And Brian, if you can put the screen up for me so I can see us while we go here. But
no.
Yes, I appreciate it. But hello to everyone out there. It's okay. It's a rare mistake. You always usually get it right. On the back end, I like to be able to see us live as opposed to look at that weird blue screen that's got my name and bad words all over it. So it's really nice. Yeah. How are you doing today, brother?
Not bad. I got to tell you, I'm only going to spend 30 seconds on this, but my favorite tournament of all time started today, the International, and my boys have actually qualified. They are in the finals. Nouns, shout out to you, my friends. And I'm wearing my jacket, my Dota jacket for that love. It's actually sort of hot. I'm gonna take this off pretty soon, but I wish you guys luck. 3 days of amazing games to watch, and I hope my boys win it. Nouns.
Congratulations.
Go Nouns. That's it.
All right. None of us understood that, but yeah, that's okay. I understand. You don't understand football either, so
I just wanted to rep.
you were repping the gear, is what it was. Your Dota jacket.
I got this for free for my birthday, bro. I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, so today, guys, we're going to be talking about some really great stuff. We're going to be talking about, if you guys didn't get a chance to see it yet, South Park enters the Panderverse on Paramount Plus last night. And oh boy, is it a doozy. We're going to be talking about stuff that we've been talking about for a long time, but nobody's been listening to. And so it's great to get some confirmation bias from our boys over at South Park. We're also going to be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, which not only came out in the theaters last night, but also was able to be streamed on Peacock. And I am entirely grateful that that happened and saved me about $100. So that was fantastic. And we're also going to be talking about Old Dads, a very sneaky new movie that dropped on Netflix that really fits our generation right now and what we're going through. So you have young kids and they're older dudes. And we've got some box office. What'd you call it? What's it called? The box office beat. The box office beat.
That's right.
And some other fun things before we go to the member section. So tell everybody how the Popcast Hero Unleashed works, Mr. Brian, and let's get this thing rolling.
Real simple. Top left is the Popcast Unleashed Stream Hero. And as you guys do either tips or super chats, that bar the health bar will go down and your health bar will be replaced. And the person that is there the longest at the top of the Stream Hero hill will win our mystery box.
Yes, which is
we need a graphic for the mystery box. I just realized that.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have some graphics to show people what they're going to win, because they're like, I don't know, it's a mystery. Why would I want
It's a mystery.
All right. Awesome. So yeah, we got that going on, and we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Before we get into the South Park thing, just thank you to You're on Falth for the 14 sec, which is I had it a minute ago, but I totally forgot what it is. Thank you so much for that, brother. Appreciate the support. Longtime member.
And I actually can put super chats now on the screen.
Whoa.
Yeah, look at that. It's on there now.
Woo.
Yeah.
We can actually show people appreciation for when they support us.
Yeah, I had to get my coder to help me out with that. That software was not working.
Also, take a moment here, if you can, please give us a thumbs up on this video so we can get it out to more people, and subscribe to the channel if you have never subscribed to us.
Oh, that's right. The algorithm requires this. Please like this video.
The algorithm requires it?
Praise the algorithm. Please like this video. I actually read somewhere that if you need to actually say the word like this video to be promoted properly. So,
all right. Well, please, YouTube, like the video. Kenneth LaRoque, member for 2 months. I can't stay for long, but I'll enjoy the show while here. Thank you so much, Ken, who was a huge super donator last week. We so appreciate you helping out, and you got some goodies coming to you as well, sir. John Burns for $2.79. Brian Sperm has qualified for an international.
Yes. The international, which is I follow a game called Dota. It's the hardest game to play in the world, and once a year, about 20 of the best teams on the planet, the best players in the world, get together and they compete for a ridiculous amount of money. And that just started actually about 18 minutes ago.
Well,
I'm not going to say it's why I was late, but that's why I was late.
I'm sure we'll talk about it in the member section today for sure. I know Brian's excited. This is Brian's Super Bowl. So for those of you who like football,
I'm a super nerd and this is my Super Bowl.
So I got to tell you guys, the first thing we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about South Park. If you haven't had a chance to go watch it, we'll try not to spoil it entirely here, but we are going to be going into it. And I got to tell you, it's if you've been following our channel for, I don't know, the last several years, since really you can go back to when Discovery first came out, and Hollywood started changing the fabric of how Hollywood movies are made, and things became a little more shitty and a little more what's the best way to put it? A little more, nothing is as good, and things became a lot more diverse, which is not a bad thing, but it became diverse in a way that didn't make any sense,
Right.
like completely race swapping characters and stuff like that. So it took a long time to happen, but Matt and Trey over at South Park has decided to finally weigh into this in one of their specials, which you can find over on Paramount Plus. Came out last night. South Park enters the Pandaverse. And Matt and Trey have a way of just boiling down the truth of something in simple, direct, and obvious terms. And there's this moment of elation when a topic is about something all of us on the fringe have been screaming from the mountaintops, but mainstream media pretends they can't hear us. Okay. But when South Park says it, it just can't be ignored.
Right.
And I'd be lying if I didn't say I felt a moment of victory last night while watching this special.
Yeah.
For all of us in the community.
Yeah. When they went to the Disney executive meeting, and some guy was like, I don't know, I don't want to say it, but I think it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault.
Right. As soon as Kathleen Kennedy's name came out, it was like Disney, then Kathleen Kennedy, and Cartman's having the nightmare.
Right.
Yeah, that was something special. Let me just break down real quick kind of what the show is about, and then we can go into talking about it a little more. The episode delves into the fact that Hollywood, specifically Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, are replacing everyone with diverse women and LGBTQ people who complain about the patriarchy. We get a universe switcheroo with Cartman and an alternate reality black woman who comes from a universe where all the South Park characters are some version of an ethnically diverse woman.
And Ken is fine.
What? Kenny?
Ken's alternate character is super hot.
Oh, Kenny?
Yeah. Kenny. Sorry, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny, who actually we can hear what he's saying. It would have been cool if they would have had her mumble.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of a little harder, but she's Asian. So you've got Kenny's Asian. You've got Stan, who is Hispanic, I believe.
Hispanic for sure, yeah.
And you've got who's the kid with the
Kyle
hat?
is like
Kyle,
I guess black.
Indian.
Indian.
Yeah. And then Cartman's a black woman. So that was hilarious. And as you go throughout, if you know the South Park characters, they go through all of them at some point in this. You even get
Butters,
the two hunter guys.
Oh yeah.
Who are, everybody's changed. So anyways, the kick here is that when the characters are the same, but they've all been swapped. And thanks to Disney, who used the Pander Stone to make to make the same lazy movies over and over again, it would eventually open up the Panderverse, where an alternate reality Cartman Kathleen Kennedy demands that they put a chick in every movie, make her gay, and make the movie lame. Bob Iger and the rest of the Disney execs are terrified of her and does exactly what she says, despite knowing that their stock numbers are going down and everyone hates the movies. I mean, how perfect, Brian, is this? No,
perfect. It's so on the head. It's great. I was sitting there watching it last night and I was like laughing. It was the second I saw Bob Iger, I was like, no, they didn't. They did. Oh my God.
I'm like, they did it again, because these guys always find a way to talk about things that nobody's talking about. I mean, it's really brilliant. You always want to go out there and find the audience that's being cucked.
Right.
Which is, our entire fringe community has been talking about this for years, but we're ignored by mainstream media because they don't want to give us the airtime. They don't want to have any sort, because if they were to talk about it, they would say that it's unreasonable. And there's a scene in the episode that I kind of wanted to go through real quick, if you're cool with it.
Yeah.
That delineates this idea perfectly. Okay, and it's the scene where black woman Cartman, not exactly sure how to say this.
Black Cartman.
She actually goes to PC Principal, right?
Oh yes.
And the boys say, they've just been minding their own business. But she keeps saying she's Eric Cartman, right? PC Principal asks them, what's wrong with that? The boys stare at him incredulously, as if to say, well, isn't it obvious? They say it doesn't make any sense. PC Principal says, oh, I see. there is a diverse female where Cartman used to be, and you don't like that. They say, well, it's not that we don't like that, but don't you think it's weird? PC Principal says he doesn't see a problem with it at all. And if you boys don't think Eric can be a black woman, then maybe the problem is you. Right? Where have we all heard this before, guys? Right?
Yeah. Real quick. Go ahead.
No, I'll finish it, and then you do it. Okay. They say you think it's perfectly normal that Cartman is suddenly a black woman. No, they ask PC Principal this, to which PC Principal says, you probably don't think that Indiana Jones got replaced by a female. You probably don't like the idea that Indiana Jones got replaced by a female either, huh? You probably have a problem with Black Spider-Man too. To which the boys say, no, we love Miles Morales.
It's a totally different thing. It's a different character.
Yeah, they say it's a whole different thing with its own constructed character and narrative. But this is the same old Cartman. The only difference is you put a black woman in his place.
Right.
To which PC Principal tells them, you boys feel your white culture is being threatened, so you lash out with racism. And if you say anything more about black woman Cartman not making any sense, you can have 3 weeks of detention. And of course, PC Principal is taking the place of mainstream media, which tries to punish anybody who even speaks about this, right?
Right.
Go ahead with what you're going to say. That's the whole scene.
Well, yeah, it sums it up perfect. So he took two examples. One where Black Spider-Man is completely fine. In fact, it's cool. Miles Morales is a cool character, and it's a completely different character. But then also, Indiana Jones being replaced by a woman, it's literally just, let's just replace this character with a woman. No reason. She didn't earn it. There was no kind of setup to it. It was just, you know what? This person is a badass, and she is a quarter of the age. She has none of the wisdom, and here we go. Just throw it in there. So it's two extreme opposites of characters that make no sense. Like the most recent.
Seems like Indiana Jones was the catalyst, because they bring up Indiana Jones many times in this. I feel like Indiana Jones was the catalyst in this last movie that came out, was the catalyst in them going like, we're finally pissed off. We're done.
Little Mermaid wasn't mentioned, but I feel like that was probably in there too. It was in their minds.
That actually makes a lot of sense. So the episode is really so cleverly done. I love the way they do this with all of their great episodes like this. They kind of weave two different narratives in here. Right. So you've got this whole like the Pander Stone. They've created this thing that Disney basically was using this stone so that they didn't have to write anything interesting or do any work. Right. There's like this moment where Kathleen Kennedy admits to like they're just like lazy writing.
Right.
So they use this Pander Stone, but they use the Pander Stone so much that it opened up the Pander verse.
The Pander Stone allows us to take things we've already done and regurgitate them.
Right. Right. And just regurgitate. Yeah, exactly. But it was done so much that it like broke things. And they ended up with an alternate version, Kathleen Kennedy.
This is one of my favorite scenes when Cartman is in the classroom and they're all talking about like white male privilege and whatever. And he's like, oh!
He's in hell, right? He's in hell.
So, and then the teacher comes in and he's like, oh!
Well, yeah, because everybody is, and they do go through and kind of show the ridiculousness of swapping out characters, and when you could just make your own characters, right? To just make, and of course the secondary story here going on, which is also the B story, which is also pandering, of course, centers on Randy, and it's focused on taking digs, kind of at young people initially. But what I thought was interesting was that they actually took the opportunity to take digs at all kinds of things. So they're taking digs at young people, their phones, AI, right? They go into AI.
Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, all of those things, right? There's this wonderful scene, and I got to tell you, it hit so personally for me. Randy comes into his kids, and he's like, you kids don't know how to do shit. Right. You know, and it's like this complaining. And at first I'm like, oh my God, you know, that's what I'm saying about this young generation right now all the time. Like they don't know how to do shit. Right. So Randy's like, come over here. I'm going to teach you how to do something. Today you're going to learn how to do something. We're going to learn how to fix this oven door.
I actually thought he was going to start like screwing something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was great. And when he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, and then started, and and he says, and then you call the handyman. And I went, oh my God. Because listen, for those of us who are not handy, myself included, it was this moment of like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's what I do, right? Like, I'm like, I don't know how to fix this damn thing. I got to call somebody who can fix it. I gotta be
honest, when I was watching this, I was like, the second he pulled his phone, I was like, oh my God, that's Shane. It's Shane right there.
Totally me. I'm yelling at my kids.
I fix everything. I'm the opposite of that. I can fix everything.
Yeah.
In fact, I prefer to fix it myself because I'm so cheap.
Yes. Well, I wish I could afford to be cheap, but I just don't have the knowledge because I went to college and didn't learn how to do anything.
I didn't go to college. I learned how to do stuff.
So it's funny because I've run into these situations where, I mean, I have trouble getting handymen to come over to my house now, and then they want to charge me all this money. I think to myself, my God, that's more money than I make per hour, which they're probably thinking, well, then you should fix it. You know, if you don't want to pay for it.
Yeah. This is the last time I had to fix something. It was the dishwasher, which came with the house, and it's a really old model, and it just wasn't working, and it was smelly and whatever. And so I was calling the company, and I'm calling, whatever the company is. And they're like, you gotta get a certified repairman. And I'm calling the certified repairman. He's like, I can come out. It's going to cost $200. And I'll, that money will go to whatever repairs I have to make. I'm like, I'm sorry, $200 just for you to come out and look at it? He's like, yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what, dude? I'll figure it out. And I pulled that sucker out of there. And my God, this house was made like 80 years ago. So it was pretty rough underneath there. And I found the problem. It was clogged up or whatever. And I fixed it. It literally took me like 72 hours of time over a period of 2 weeks. It took me a long time to figure out. I had to look things up and diagrams. Yeah. But dude, when it was done and it was working, I felt like a rock star.
Well, yeah. And there is that element of, yeah.
But you know what? It might have only cost me $200. And I did spend about 2 weeks trying to fix it.
That's true. So there's something to it, but they go through this. So you've got this whole episode of the pandering, and I love how they make fun of so many things. They make fun of like undocumented workers at Home Depot, but instead of like now all those people are rich.
Oh, that
now
moment,
they're
though,
making fun of us having to stand in front of Home
when
Depot.
He was talking in Surrey though, when he goes, Surrey, let me find some cheap immigrants or whatever. And I was like, I'm sorry, that I didn't say that right. And then he just repeated it, but
the exact same thing.
But he said Surrey first or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And all the doctors and lawyers and psychiatrists and geologists are out there now. Oh, every time a handyman comes by, they got spinners on their car.
Right. It keeps getting bigger and better. Like there's richer. They want to like take down the university, the college. Right. They're yelling down the college, but they don't know how to build the catapult to destroy the college. Right. It's just great. The whole thing was so fantastic. I love how they end up in space and they're poking fun at Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. And they talk about fighting MMAs and buying everything, including like Instagram and, like Twitter is kind of the jokes on Twitter.
That was great. Twitter, but that was so great.
They end up out in space.
Randy's response when they were like, we're going to fight each other. He's like, what is going on?
It was pretty crazy. So, I mean, they did a great job of doing the ridiculous. And then they bring it home by having this whole alternate reality thing. They make fun of the
multiverse.
Multiverse.
They said it's lazy writing. Exactly what we've been saying for like 2 years.
I mean, these guys, it's like they're my spirit animals.
Yeah,
I do believe. And then you got Bob Iger here. I thought it was interesting. They come to a solution, and the solution is, of course, that Eric Cartman and Kathleen Kennedy are stuck in the same university, that diverse universe, where all the South Park characters are some form of diverse woman, and they start working together to get out of the universe here. And there's this moment of, Cartman kind of represents the fan base that was frustrated by by this garbage that Disney and other Hollywood, not just Disney, by the way, Disney's taking it on the chin here because they're an easy target and they're probably the biggest culprit, but all of Hollywood is guilty of this, most of Hollywood. And they come to some determination here that Kathleen and basically that Cartman, I wrote those 15,000 letters. Cartman is the one who wrote all 15,000 letters, calling her the C word, which did happen. Right. And so they kind
I
of
thought it was
make
funny. Like,
these-
I was getting thousands. He goes, well, it wasn't thousands, maybe like 15,000.
yeah. And he's like, yeah, I wrote all those.
That's great.
So she basically apologizes for, reacting to him being angry at her for making shitty stuff. And then as a result, her making more shitty stuff. So like the whole thing was like this buildup, almost like gang violence, where it's like you do something bad to me and I do something bad to you. So she apologizes for destroying something that he loves, and he apologizes for calling it the C word. And there's this kind of coming together moment where she agrees going forward she's not going to destroy the things that he loves, the movies, not going to make shitty movies anymore. And then he agrees to not be so harsh. But Bob Iger says essentially, yeah, Kathleen, we're going to do that. Yeah. And which is the guys at South Park basically say that even though there's been this coming together of this agreement, Bob Iger in the studio is not going to stop doing what they're doing.
Right.
Didn't you get that feeling?
Oh yeah, they're going to keep doing it.
Right. So it was like this whole thing of like, we can come together, and even like the people who work for the studio can come together. I mean, because obviously Kathleen Kennedy gets all the blame, but it's not all her fault. I mean, she's not the reason why it's all bad, but she kind of gets that moniker, right? There's a lot of people responsible for how shitty everything is, and at the top, ultimately, it's guys like Bob Iger,
right,
who are responsible. And I think they do a good job of pointing that out, and they don't pull the punch. I know a lot of you guys are going to watch this and think, oh, they pulled the punch. They pulled the punch at the end, but they don't, because they leave Bob Iger there holding the responsible bag, I think.
Yeah, every time the Cartman version of Kathleen Kennedy, I guess the diverse Kathleen Kennedy, whatever.
Right. Or I didn't know what universe that was from, but it was weird.
Yeah,
he was eating his friends.
He was eating his friends and aliens. No, but every time she had a movie idea, it was like, make it gay and black.
Yes, so that's what it was. Here, I got the exact words because I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, she says she came into the thing and she's like, and it didn't matter. It was like they're doing Bambi. She's like, I don't care. Make it a chick, make her gay, and make it lame. That's what she was saying over and over and over again. Like everything.
Another thing I thought was a joke you might have missed was when they were trying to, when Kyle was trying to figure out the right pronoun, and he's like, him, her, they, it. I don't know.
That was, they were in PC Principal's office. They didn't know like what to call the new Cartman. And that's kind of what we all go through, right? It's confusing as hell.
Yeah.
So I just feel like they did if you guys haven't had a chance to go watch it, please go watch it. It's great to have something mainstream, kind of agree with us to some, kind of come and say, look, yes, none of this makes any sense. And, all the things you've been saying, we were yelling into the wind, is finally being heard by somebody who's legitimate, I guess, is the best way to look at it.
I don't know if Trey and Matt are, I mean, they're mainstream, but they've always just sort of done whatever they wanted to. So
no, but they're like we were talking about before, they're uncancelable because they're telling the truth. And if anybody were to come against South Park, I mean, imagine the news media attack South Park.
Oh, they've tried.
Right? What's going to happen?
Back in the day.
Now. Let's say they come at him now. South Park's just going to come right back at him.
Right.
It's a fight that they don't want to get into because they're on the wrong side of it.
Well, and I think that Trey and Matt are way more clever, which means they're going to make them look stupid. Case in point,
they're going to be right and make them look stupid.
Do you remember that that psychic guy? I'm forgetting his name right now. They made an entire episode about the psychic, and I'm forgetting his name, but there was this famous psychic that had a TV show, and he would do these things where he would, help people speak to like their dead relatives, right?
Right.
And Trey and Matt thought he was a dickhead, so they did and there was an episode where he wasn't the feature. He was a small part of the episode where they basically just said, you're full of shit and whatever, and you're a dickhead. And well, he came after them. He was like wanting to sue them for defamation, and their response was they dedicated an entire episode to him and showing how much of a fraud he is and how much of an asshole he is for tricking people into thinking they're speaking to their dead relatives on national television. That was their response. Their response wasn't legal. It was. I'm gonna dedicate an entire episode now to this fake psychic. That's why you go after them, and they're just gonna come right back. And because they're so much more clever than you, they're gonna make you look like an idiot.
That's a good point. Look at it. These guys. This is why. I mean, this makes so much sense. So you got Trey Parker's 54 and Matt Stone's 52. These guys are right there. I mean, I can't, they're experiencing the world the same way I am at 50 years old. And we couldn't be more aligned with the ridiculousness of how things appear. And like I said, they're untouchable because mainstream media, if they were to come after them, I mean, based on what you just said, but there's no way that mainstream can win. Like the media cannot win against them because they've got too big of a following. So it's easier just to ignore them and move on. And hopefully they don't get as much publicity is kind of the way they look at it. But the world's going to see this. And I think that you're probably going to get a lot of people talking about this over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is the guy, John Edwards, that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
And the episode they dedicated to him was John Edwards, the biggest douche in the universe. Is the title of the episode.
Is that it? Yeah.
At the end of the episode, aliens come down and give him an award for being the biggest douche in the universe.
Oh my gosh.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Honesty. That's why what was the title of our thumb today? Honesty hurts or something like that.
The truth hurts.
The truth hurts. And these guys do nothing but speak the truth, even if it is direct and it is uncomfortable. They always do it. And we're grateful for it. So
I'm into that. Okay, before the next topic, we got some super chats.
Yes, let's take it on to it.
From Christopher Mays. Thank you, Christopher Mays, my dude, for $20. He says, "Hey, Brian, do you do a better job setting your fantasy donut lineup than you do your fantasy football lineup?"
Oh, shit. The call out, bro.
You know what, bro?
If you guys don't know, we run a fantasy football thing through Discord, and that's exactly what Christopher Mays is talking about. Thank you, Christopher.
And what am I, 1-7?
Mostly due to your own fault. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, 1-7. Mostly. To be fair, I was also extremely sick for like 2 weeks. I'm gonna rest on that.
Hey, I was happy I won the week that you didn't start your players, so thank you.
And you know what's funny? Fantasy Dota is actually a thing, and I'm actually number 8 out of 100 people right now.
Okay, so there you go.
I'm doing very well in my fantasy lineup.
We know where your priorities lie.
Also from John Burns, 279. Thank you, John Burns. Brian being a super nerd is tight. That's a Ryan George. It's tight.
Tight.
Ryan George is great. Check him out, you guys. Kenneth the Rogue for $3, just $3. Hey, love you too, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. Love you, man.
Can you say his name again?
You're on fault.
You're on fault. Thank you. For 20 sec, he says, "Fun times with the South Park special." Winking face. Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, how many years? It's hard to explain, like the elation. I texted Brian, like, as soon as like the first 20 minutes of the show came in, I'm texting Brian. I'm like, oh my God, this is just everything I needed right now.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we need, we're sitting here wondering, are we crazy? Like, are we wrong?
Right.
And to have these guys like, give validity to the way our thoughts and the things that we talk about in a way that nobody else does. It's just hard to explain the elation. And I hope you guys, when you watched it, felt elated too in your thoughts. So
this week was actually pretty ripe with that because Old Dads, which we're going to talk about pretty soon, also had me just like seething. The entire time.
Old Dads? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go into that a little later, by the way. We're going to talk Old Dads. That'll be great.
Next up, John Burns for 279. "I prefer the term N-word, Cartman." Shane? Oh, no. Oh, no, John.
Is that nudity, Cartman?
Nudity, Cartman.
Nudity or nerdy, Cartman? No, we know where you're going, John.
You're on fault again for 50 sec. He says, "They literally killed off the white child in the last Indiana Jones."
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's
the last Indiana Jones was real bad.
It was bad. And I do think that that's the reason why these guys lost their shit finally. I mean, all the Disney movies have been crappy, but that Indiana Jones was a dagger to the forehead,
Right.
It was really bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, which is why I still don't know how you have them so high on your list. But then I remember
it's not so high, really.
Well, I look at it's because it's this year only. And
yes,
there's not been a lot of great stuff this year. So
it's been terrible.
Yeah. John Burns, there's a new Ryan George video out. Very funny. I'll check it out, John. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
it sits at number 22 of all the movies this year. So for me.
Yeah.
So which is, thank you, John, for that super chat. And right now, currently, Christopher Mays sits atop the Unleashed Hero spot. And let's see if you guys can knock him out. All right.
See if you can do it. Okay. Next up is Old Dads, right?
No, next up is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. So this one was let's talk about it.
Yeah. Let me give you the breakdown first really quick.
Sure.
Five Nights at Freddy's, it came out last night if you were able to catch it at the theater, or if you just had Peacock streaming. We were given the gift of being able to watch Five Nights at Freddy's from your own home. And I had planned originally to watch it at the theater. I had everything set up. I was going to take my kids. It was going to cost me a fortune. And then I got this gift like a week before saying it was going to be at my house. And then we watched it at my house for the low streaming price of $70.99 for
it's $6.99, right?
I don't know what I'm paying, but it feels close to that.
Dude, it is so cheap. I'm not a simp for Peacock here, but I'm gonna say it again. If you can only afford one streaming service, Peacock is the way to go. They have an insanely large library, and they are constantly putting movies out that are in theaters for $6.
Yeah, they're all in on their streaming service. So, I don't know that they are hurting the theater by doing this. I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's has a $20 million budget. So not a huge budget by any means. And by them doing this, I mean, here's the situation. They took me out of the theater, literally. I was going to go watch this movie for certain. They took me out of the theater and I watched it at home. They're willing to double down. They've done this with all of their Halloween movies. They've done it with several different movies over the recent year where you could watch it at the same time on Peacock. They're trying to get people to that streaming service. We'll see whether or not it's successful or not, but seems like it's doing, and we'll see the numbers as we do the box office.
Yeah, I was going to go to the movies too. I was ready to go. And then I saw that it was streaming on Peacock, and they advertise it like very well. It's pretty. I have no issue with Peacock. But I do think that they could have made a lot of money with this movie. They didn't have to go on Peacock first.
I don't think they did either. But let's go into it a little bit. Five Nights at Freddy's. A troubled security guard begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. During his first night on the job, he realizes that the night shift won't be so easy to get through. Pretty soon, he will unveil what actually happened at Freddy's. It's rated PG-13 at 1 hour and 50 minutes. And as I said, the film has a budget of $20 million. And of course, Five Nights at Freddy's is based on a very, very popular game, the game franchise, Five Nights at Freddy's. Which I recall coming out probably around, 2014, 2015. It was a mobile game on the phone. I just happen to have children that are in this age demographic. My oldest child, who's now 24, used to play this game on his phone. And over the years, it's built up into, you can play it on all of the different gaming devices. Even now, you can play it on the Oculus Quest. And what I do know about this game is that it terrifies children, because of the jump scares, and it's a pretty frightening game. I've never played it, but I've watched my kids play it, and they're scared when they're playing it. So
I learned about it from Matt Pat, Film Theory, and
who was in this movie, by the way?
Who was in this movie, which I thought was awesome.
Which was great. As a YouTuber, we always support YouTubers getting into the movies.
Good for him, man. And good for him.
Played a waiter.
He played a waiter. Good for him for not. Also, he didn't blow it, because he returned back to the franchise to do a theory right when this was announced, and he could have right then said he was in it. He never did, and he could have blown the entire movie because he had already seen it, but he didn't. I'm very happy for him. Also, it's a Blumhouse movie, which it's funny because I remember watching it and thinking toward the end, well, this feels like a Blumhouse movie. And then, lo and behold, it is a Blumhouse movie.
It was actually, I got to tell you, I'll get into it here, but essentially Five Nights at Freddy's, I thought they did a really good job of setting the scene. So I think all of the production work on it, it really did give you the feel. A lot of effort went into it. The decorations and the animatronics are excellently done. It's Henson's Muppet creatures who made the animatronics.
That's awesome. I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah, you do feel like you're in a 1980s leftover Chuck E. Cheese restaurant when you're watching this.
100%. Yeah, and it's super creepy. There are a couple shots where the camera's focused on the character, but then in the back you see like some yellow figure moving past a mirror or whatever.
Right.
That's pretty well done. And my wife was watching with me, completely missed it. I saw the stuff in the background. It looks really good. The setting is really good. I do like the animatronics a lot. And I'm surprised they didn't. I'm not surprised. I'm happily surprised that they used animatronics and not, CGI or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, they used. Well, they didn't use animatronics. Actually, they used their Muppets.
Puppets, right?
Puppets, I guess you would call
them. But they look like animatronics.
They do. They did a good job making them look like animatronics. Being familiar with the game, let's talk a little bit about Josh Hutcherson, who plays the main character here. He's the security guard. The last time we saw Josh Hutcherson for real was the Hunger Games. He was, of course, one of the main characters in the Hunger Games. And I got to tell you, that movie came out in 2012. It's been 11 years, and he doesn't look like he's aged a day, man. I mean, this guy still looks young. And to play a role where he's basically a young adult and he's taking care of his young sister, which I thought was interesting. This guy's in his mid to late 30s now, and he really pulled off like an early 20s character here pretty well, I would say. And Josh is, he's a talented actor. I thought that the movie really went deep into the lore, and my kids are all about the lore. And so I'm kind of conflicted about this movie. On the one hand, I really felt like it should have been an R-rated movie.
Yeah, it should have been.
My son, who's 24, was initially introduced to Five Nights at Freddy's, and he can go watch this movie. In fact, all three of my adult children could go watch this movie, an R-rated film. But at the same time, I got to say, during this movie, I had really meaningful conversations with my 10-year-old about the game and the backstory. He was interested, he was excited, and we haven't had much conversation about things. And so it was nice to be able to talk to him because it was PG-13 and he was young enough to be able to watch it with me. So there's this kind of weird dichotomy on the movie probably would have been better as an R, but I really did have a better family experience because it was PG-13.
That's probably why it was PG-13.
Well, no, it was PG-13 because it's going to make the most money.
Oh, yeah.
And
makes sense.
There are a lot of kids who like Five Nights at Freddy's, and a rated R film would have knocked them out.
Right.
But in order to stay true to the game, and to the people who played the game, you would have needed it to be terrifying. And I did not find this movie terrifying in the least. It was not scary. You had the momentary in the beginning. You got the monitors going off. It is very much like the game in the very beginning, where you're not exactly sure, you're this security guard who's supposed to survive the night, right? It's 5 nights. Each night you're at Freddy's, it gets a little harder to survive the night, and you have to use your flashlight. And there's a whole thing about the game. And they gave some sort of honor to the game a little bit by showing all the different things, but they didn't really take you down the terrifying lane. You get the initial security guard who gets killed at the opening credits, so you can see kind of what it's about. But when Josh Hutcherson comes in and takes over, there's this different dichotomy happening because there's a whole backstory where when he was a child, his brother was abducted in front of him, and he's having this reoccurring nightmare since he was young, essentially trying to kind of deal with it. He still thinks that he should be able to recognize the person who took his brother when he was little, but he's still dealing with the demons from that. Right. And he notices when he gets this job, which, by the way, the job was given. This is actually pretty cool. The job was given to him by Scream
Lillard.
Legend.
Yeah.
Right. Did you notice that? Right. Did you notice the
Matthew Lillard?
The Matthew Lillard was the character.
Yeah. From he was also in Scooby-Doo.
From Scooby-Doo, but from Scream was where he got his first thing. And the first thing I noticed from Matthew was how old he was. And then I looked in the mirror and said, "Oh shit! Oh yeah, we are old."
I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, Matthew Lillard, yes. And I'm like, oh no,
Right.
what happened, bro? Wait a minute.
Wait, whoa.
Right.
Yeah, we were all young when the first one came out. But anyways, so that was kind of a nice little thing there. And I think maybe you show your hand when you put a guy like that in the movie. But they did want to go into the lore of the film. And I think one of the problems with the movie, while we have this interesting storyline which goes into the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, it felt like it probably should have been a second movie. So the first movie, and maybe the studio wasn't going to give him more than one movie. Although, if you'd let the damn thing stay at the theater, you probably would have made plenty of money in order to have a second movie, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if you would have stuck to the terrifyingness, if you would have made it more like a Chucky, or more like a scary as shit first movie, where you're terrified of these animatronics, instead of making them making you have sympathy for them and like have this entire storyline where they're sympathetic characters. No, you're supposed to be terrified of them. And then you bring this storyline into the second movie.
Right.
This really should have been a second movie storyline. The first one should have been all about how terrifying it is to be there. And we slowly learn little bits and pieces about the backstory, and then leave us hanging at a point to where we get the second movie, which actually delves deeply into what was an interesting backstory. And if you've watched any of the YouTube videos that talk about it, there is a very interesting, franchise here. There's an interesting universe that's been created around this game, I would say. What do you think?
No, I agree. The first thing I thought when it ended was, there's no way to make a second movie. Like this
could, but it's going to be what? It's going to be derivative.
This feels like the last movie already. This feels like like you already buttoned this up, and you definitely could have gotten 2 movies out of this. And I'm not someone who says like, oh, just do a sequel, but like there's a lot of lore here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could have had the that first security guard that gets murdered. There was a lot more lore you could have shown us about how they operate and why. So maybe set up the first one with a security guard that's just trying to survive the 5 nights he has there, and have him uncover certain pieces of what's happening as he goes, and then now we already fully understand what's happening with the animatronics and what they're doing, and then you bring this guy in, and for the second movie, and we don't have to go back to the animatronic storyline. We don't have to understand that anymore. Now, you couldn't have revealed that Matthew Lillard's character was the big bad.
Yeah. We don't want to mix that anyways.
Right. But you could have definitely have shown, the golden bunny or whatever. There could have been something there. But there should have been a terrifying movie and then the lore wrap up for the second movie.
100%.
And now you really can't have a second movie. If you do have a second movie, what's it going to be? Like, I don't see how you can possibly have a second movie. Like we are no longer afraid of these things because we know what they are, right?
Yeah. There's no terror, and I think that's part of the problem. And I do, when I learned, I didn't know what they were. When I learned the lore on it, I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. That it's actually children or whatever.
Oh, and they're still in there. That was sort of creepy and crazy.
It's super creepy and super crazy, and there needs to be some sort of fear involved. Now there's no fear, and you're right. It would be, to do another movie would be pointless at this point. They've shot their proverbial wad, so to speak.
Yeah, and there's a lot of lore that they didn't go into. Just to be clear, like, I never played the games, but I have watched Matt Pat's videos because they're entertaining. And
they're going to try to make another movie because, of course, the last famous words were, I always come back.
Right.
And that was, of course, letting you know that. And of course, at the end, you see, of course, the character is still kicking and screaming or whatever. So,
right. As it bites into him or whatever. Yeah. Maybe he comes, maybe he's no longer human. Now he's one of the whatever. And see, I didn't understand. I also would like to know how they're still living. There was things that the game would explain, but this didn't have time to explain.
Right. It was already a long enough movie at 1 hour and 50 minutes. they could have had a little bit of a shorter movie, made it a little more terrifying. I do think Josh Hutcherson was the right guy. There are moments where, him and Elizabeth Lyle, who plays the female cop, there's like this desire to find out why the relationship is so strange. When you finally learn what's going on, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. But there's this, kind of mess getting there.
It was weird too. Like when she turned, she knows everything about the place. Right. And she turned on the animatronics and they started singing, and she was like, "Would you like to dance?" And you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, there was some weirdness there. There's like, some disconnect. And I think they were trying to do
She met him 5 minutes ago and she's already like really into it. Like she already sort of she already like feels like we're supposed to like, have they already met? Do we not?
Right. Yeah.
No. That was creepy. Now, and then like it stopped working, so she didn't dance or whatever, but I think maybe they were trying to show her as being like this very broken person too.
I think so, and they had a hard time getting us there. I think Piper Rubio, who plays his little sister Abby,
she did good.
I don't think so at all.
Oh,
I thought she
she
was
did
actually a
good.
terrible little actress. I didn't think she did a good job. I thought they should have found somebody who had a little bit more on-screen charisma. I think any kid could have played that role.
I think she was supposed to be playing like someone who was like maybe autistic or something, because like the teacher was saying how she's having a hard time or whatever. But then at the end,
she's traumatized.
Like, right.
I mean, she's traumatized. She lost her mom. The father apparently couldn't cope. So we didn't really find out what happened to the father, except that he just couldn't cope.
Maybe that's the second movie. Maybe he turns into one of the animatronics. I don't know.
At this point, it's going to all be stupid. I mean, no matter what they do next, it's stupid.
Although I got to be honest, I liked, we don't know actually what happened to this character, but I'm hoping that she got killed.
She did. Yeah, obviously. She did.
I'm really hoping,
and which was satisfying.
Horrible. Yeah.
I mean, the only people who really get killed are the ones that are bad, and which is not what this is about. And I'm not sure that's a little bit of a backstab to gamers, I think. Because anybody who's the security guard can be killed. Doesn't matter if you're good or bad. And you end up, pandering. Once again, the studio ends up pandering to an audience. And of course, the only people who really get killed that we see are some bad guys who show up during the daylight, which didn't make any sense. They were trying to get him fired from his job, so they break in when he's not there.
Yeah, that makes no sense. And then when the cop was like, "Someone broke into Freddy's last night." How do you? First off, that was actually a tell, because I'm like, how do you already know this?
Right.
She's a cop. You just hang out at Freddy's? And then the whole point was to make him look bad, but yet they go after he's gone.
Right. And so it didn't really make
what was
sense.
The plot? Oh, he left a door open? No, it clearly showed them breaking in. They didn't leave a door open. They just broke. It made no sense. That just proves that the place needs a 24-hour security guard.
Right. So
they need to double his pay.
Well, and the whole point was that the animatronics come alive at night. That's what the gameplay's about.
Right.
So it was another kind of weird thing. So I would just say overall that it was actually an entertaining movie. I enjoyed watching it. I thought there was enough mystery, even though it was confusing and convoluted. I thought there was enough mystery to keep you intrigued. There's enough surprises as you get to the end to make the movie watchable.
Yeah.
I would not say it's a bad movie. It's worth the cost of popcorn.
I'm discovering like just about every Blumhouse movie, even if it's not good, is watchable. It's entertaining.
It's watchable. Yeah. I just think they missed a huge opportunity to turn this into something super cool. And really capture, kind of like Megan did. Megan really captured kind of this new idea for horror. And I think they could have really capitalized on the idea of kids being, taken and kind of, they could have really turned it into something interesting and made it something evil that also later on in future movies became sympathetic, maybe.
Yeah, this kid right here was real creepy though.
He was the best actor probably of all of them.
Jesus.
He was creepy. He had a great smile.
Just imagine getting up to get some milk at night, you know, and you're walking back, and this is your kid, and he's just standing in the hallway, like, fuck, Robbie, what the fuck? Get back in the bed.
Actually, yeah, he did the best job of probably everybody. If you want to pop it up, we can take a look at where Five Nights at Freddy's is going to show up on my 2023 list of movies.
I want to get a shot of the animatronics real quick. There it is.
They did a good job with that.
Yeah, good stuff.
They should have, you know, but a game that's built on jump scares should have had more than one jump scare in the whole movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was another one too with In the House. Remember? That was pretty.
There was really only one real. I mean, and I don't know. It did not feel like I was scared at any moment or suspenseful enough to be like freaked out.
Freddy looks great. Okay. Yeah, let's pull that up. I'm digging Blumhouse movies, man. I gotta be honest.
I mean, they're entertaining to some degree. I would not say that they're groundbreaking, awesome, incredible movies, but they're keeping you entertained, and they're doing it for pretty cheap. I mean, you know, they're not $100 million movies. You know, they did this for $20 million, and they should have no problem making their money back, if not making a little bit more on it. If you take a look at my list here, you can see that you got to scroll down a little bit, but Five Nights at Freddy's sits at number 21. That's right below the Super Mario Brothers movie and right above Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
All right.
Which tells you all you want to know about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This movie was more enjoyable than that, and Indiana Jones is a classic franchise. Where you can
I'm so surprised that Asteroid City is literally last on your list. I feel like that movie was made for you.
It's just a horrible movie. It absolutely makes no sense, and so therefore it's no good.
It doesn't makes no sense at all.
But Megan, if you see, Megan's here at number 6, and that is a Blumhouse movie, and it shows the potential of what a horror movie that Blumhouse can make. You know, can do. Five Nights at Freddy's easily could have been better than Megan had they actually made the animatronics terrifying, which Megan is terrifying. So
yeah, okay, man. Well, that's it for. I haven't done my list yet, but we're
working on it.
It's probably going to be somewhere around the same. So okay,
awesome.
That's it, man. Yeah. Listen, it's on Peacock. It's pretty much free, so you should give it a go.
Cheaper than going to the movies. That's for sure.
All right, from Kenneth the Rogue for $5, just $5. No message, just $5. Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you,
appreciate it, my friend. From John Burns 279, can you only get Peacock in North America? That's a great question.
Let me find out. In Canada, actually.
Yeah. So excellent question. Peacock is currently available to stream in the United States and certain U.S. territories. So
it's not available in Canada, but you can use a VPN.
You can use one of our past sponsors. I'm sure. Get a VPN.
Yep, that'll get you there.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man. Maybe that's why it's so cheap.
Well, it is a U.S. network TV. It's NBC basically. So
yeah,
they've yet to figure out how to pull the Disney and Amazon and get outside of our country. So
yeah.
They usually sell it to those streaming services at a later point so that people can watch it around the globe.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Thank you guys for that.
That was the only one?
There was only 2 there. And only one was a super. All right. So we're going to talk about old dads pretty soon, but I did want to share Bill Burr is the writer and star of Old Dads. And there's a very interesting, I've been a Bill Burr fan for a long time. And I just want to share this incredible joke that he did that always makes me laugh. He was talking about facelifts and he goes, "Why would you get a facelift?" And I'm going to paraphrase. He goes, "There's nothing wrong with being 50 and looking 50. What would you rather be, 50 and look 50 or 50 and look like a 28-year-old lizard?"
That's a good point.
All right. That's always got me, man.
I wouldn't I don't understand it. I'm a guy, but I don't understand how people do facelifts and things like that. So
yeah. Go on forward before we start this review. Thank you. Yoran Falth. Old Dads reminded me of the movies in the early 2000s. Same feel, but a little updated. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It did have that kind of little comedy feel. You don't get a lot of movies like this these days. In fact, you don't get any movies like this hardly nowadays, which is the cool thing about this movie. And I got to give mad shout out to Netflix, who actually, is willing to do things like the Dave Chappelle special and this Bill Burr movie. Netflix is as much crap as I give them about kind of having shitty content.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, like, they're the only ones that are like, we just want to make money. So we're going to do whatever it is that people want to make money. And I respect that in such a wonderful way.
Now, tell us what Old Dads is about, Shane.
Old Dads. Yes. Let me get back to that one. Old Dads, of course. 3 best friends become fathers later in life and find themselves battling preschool principals, millennial CEOs, and anything created after 1987. I would say after 1994, but so it stars, of course, Bill Burr, Bobby Cannavale. I can't remember how to say his name. Bobby, the guy right there.
Yeah.
The guy who's trying to stay young looking, and Bokeem Woodbine, who is often referred to as the Wish version of Dave Chappelle.
He does look like Dave Chappelle.
Damn, he looks like Dave Chappelle. In fact, they should have just had Dave Chappelle. It would have cost him too much money to have Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, it would have cost him a fortune.
And I got to tell you, Bokeem actually did a really good job in this movie.
He did.
I was really impressed with him. I was impressed with all 3 guys in this movie. They are the embodiment of kind of what we're going through right now. The movie starts out with a very great scene. They're at like a little backyard barbecue cookout. We learn that Bill Burr is a kind of an unexpected dad at an old age. He's got a young son who they're trying to put through private school, kindergarten, and they have a baby on the way. Bobby Cannavale, can't say his damn name. Bobby, his character has a kid who's completely out of control, and is chasing other kids with sticks and some interesting stuff. And
his kid's
he tries to correct his kid, and the mom steps in and does the whole thing that we hate.
Come on, can I tell you what she did?
Yeah.
She snaps her fingers and hisses at him. Shut up. Oh my, that. That's where it started for me. That was
it was supposed to make you feel that way.
Oh my God. I immediately, that is where I started to feel, attacked and frustrated. And I was like,
you need to let him feel what he's feeling right now. No, that kid what he needs is an ass whooping is what that kid needs.
Bro, in the words of Bill Burr, normally I idle, people say I go from 100, 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. No, I idle at about 50 miles an hour, right? Yeah. And this movie quickly got me up to 80 miles an hour, just sitting there.
Well, because they're hitting on all the things that frustrate us, especially as guys, you and I, who have younger children, right? And that's what this is about. You have these 3 buddies who at one time owned their own business, like a merch factory, like a t-shirt store.
I know, it's a t-shirt shop,
right?
Yeah. I'm sitting there
okay, so Brian's having, of course, because Brian and I have a t-shirt thing, and we're, we've been doing it for a long time, and we're partners.
I was having these guys a crisis.
But it turns out Bill Burr had to sell the business so that he could pay essentially for his kid to go to private school. Right, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. The business, I guess, didn't make enough money to afford the lifestyle of having kids and a wife. So he got married and had kids, and he needed more money. And when an opportunity came for him to sell their shop, they all agreed to do it. But they're still working at the shop because they're staying on.
Yeah, because they still got to earn some. It wasn't enough money, so they still got to earn. And they're supposed to be like these, revered, owners who know how to do everything. But of course, they're saddled with a millennial CEO, or I don't even know if it's a millennial. It's almost like a Generation Z. I don't know.
It was a Zoomer, I think.
Zoomer, who, has kind of the fresh new way of looking at everything, where carbon neutral,
oh my God,
diverse work.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that. Hopefully you don't get. Watch this.
It looks like.
Yeah. So when they come in,
Have a seat, get comfortable. This is your company, right? You built it. And I want you to know that I respect the shit out of what you've done here.
so he respects what they've done,
Yeah.
and then immediately follows up with, "But we're gonna change everything."
Huge shout out to Miles Robbins, who plays Aspen Bell here. He really did a great job as his character.
He did.
I thought he did a good job of pissing us off and making these guys seem stupid.
Oh, he immediately fires everyone not born
Yeah, after a certain year.
after
right?
like 1985 or before 1985. He fires everyone basically over 35.
Well, they do a really good job in this movie of showing how this new way of thinking is militaristic in its own way. It's what's the term that everybody likes to use for a government? Authoritative.
Oh, authoritative. Yeah.
It's authoritative,
fascist.
and it's fascist, right? They do a good job of showing how they fire everybody who doesn't think a certain way. They're going to change everything about the business to make it work. And this guy's a complete and utter douchebag in the way he does it. And as we'll learn soon, he does some other things. But first, we have to deal with. This
And then going home, he's trying to drive home, and there's a scooter in the middle of the road. He's like, "Share the road, bro."
Yeah.
Listen,
and of course, yeah,
and a lot of people here haven't dealt with this, but okay, in LA, scooters are a thing.
Oh,
people rent
It's a
scooters,
new car,
and they drive around on their rented scooters. Okay, it's the stupidest thing ever because they're always in your way. Like this movie shows multiple times how these things almost get hit by cars. That happens a lot if you ever drive in LA. Like you'll be driving in LA and the random scooter is completely ignoring the crosswalk and just zooming across the street. It's hilarious. It's a Zoomer thing. It's a Zoomer thing.
right? And we get a series of things that occur like this that slow him down and make it difficult for him to get to where he's supposed to be, which is to pick up his kid.
The gay couple with the pug. Pretty on brand.
It's just kind of.
He's like, "Wait, am I the asshole?" His response, they're all looking at him like he's an asshole because he's telling this guy to get on the sidewalk. He's like, "Wait a minute, am I the asshole? I'm not the asshole. He's the asshole." What? It's such a. Oh, this movie had me going the whole time, bro.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh,
Well, he
picking
finally
up
gets
his
there.
kid 2 minutes late was
Yes.
the best. Because you understand, I have kids. They go to a private school. I have to pick them up by a certain time. Like the way this teacher talks down to him as if he is not the one paying her.
Oh, you've been through this. Yeah.
I have been through this so many times.
Yeah.
And he starts off trying to be cool. He's trying to be cool. He's like, "Oh, I'm just a couple minutes late. No big deal." Yeah. But she keeps digging into him. She's trying to get a reaction out of him until finally he reacts. And then when he reacts, after she dragged the reaction out of him, everyone is fucking shocked that he reacted. Why are you shocked? You just spent 5 minutes trying to get a reaction out of me. Well, guess what, bitch? You finally did. That's how I was feeling the entire time. Like I go through this all the time and I'm just keep my mouth shut.
This is like Brian and Brian's life, like our life, kind of to a T. Especially yours, I think right now. I felt like there were more things in here, like more because I feel like you do the private school thing, and
Right.
and he's under a lot of pressure from his wife to, he calls her, I think the C word here. This is pretty vulgar. Just heads up.
At some
very
point,
vulgar.
yeah. So after
You can't watch this in front of your
he was
kids.
being polite the whole time. He was talking to this adult woman that he pays an insane amount of money, as an adult, as an equal. He was having a friendly back and forth. Even when she was digging at him for being 2 minutes late, he was still being polite. But when she kept going is when he goes, you know what?
Well, yeah. It wasn't just keeping going, though. It was learning what the rule was. That for every minute you're late, you have to pay $1.
Well, yeah. And then when he's like, okay, fine, cool. And he puts the kid down. He goes to pull out $2. He goes, but this time it's okay. The first time is.
Then she let him off.
Then
She's like,
why are you even dead? Why are you? That's when he lost it. That's when he lost it. And you know what? That's when I would have lost it too. That's when I would have lost it too.
That's when we all would have lost it.
Jesus. Oh my God. I was like,
So we come to learn. And of course, the wife is none too happy to find out that he had this altercation with the teacher, because the teacher is the all powerful community member who can get their kid into some esteemed private school, which he's now sold his business to pay for, so that his son can have a better chance than him, because he loves his kid. He wants the best for his children, as we all do. And so he's willing to make incredible sacrifices for his children that all seem to now be backfiring in his face because society is moving on without him.
Right. His wife seemed very nice, but she like never took his side, which also bothered me. Like she didn't fully understand. I think that she knew that he was dealing with this like he's the one with anger issues, except for he's the one constantly being attacked by everyone.
Well,
like,
so
what do you do? How do you deal with that, Shane?
Well, but he also doesn't have any give. So, and this is something that the movie does teach us, is Bill's character is a hardline about everything.
Right.
And, sometimes you do have to get along to get along. And I think the mother is a great example of someone who kind of lives that way, but also has his same values, because she gets into her own pissing contest with the same mom who was letting her kid be out of control, essentially.
Yeah, but first the kid had to literally physically punch her in the stomach, and she's pregnant before she opened her mouth.
No, that's not true, because she wanted to say something during that first party.
Right.
She's like, I'm going to talk to her. And they're like, no.
After the kid physically assaulted the other kid, right?
Right. She's like, no. And of course, the guys, including the, Wish version of Dave Chappelle, Woodbine, was like, no, you never do that.
Dave.
I absolutely love how like he qualifies himself. Like after that statement, she's like, what do you know? Or something like that. And he's like, ex-wife, girlfriend talking to each other, kids graduated through college, and he's like living on easy street, right? He's like done it all.
Yeah.
Fair
enough, bro. I guess you know what you're talking about.
So she does have her moment where she's like, I don't agree with this stuff. I don't necessarily agree with this, but I want our children to have the most success. So she's willing as a mom to do whatever it takes. If I have to bend the knee, then I will bend the knee. And it seems as if Bill Burr's character is the same way. Like he's willing to do anything except this one thing, right? And that's kind of where they're having their problem.
Bro, okay. When he goes to apologize after that first encounter,
so fucking great.
This is insane. But you know what?
Insane.
Everyone that watches this that doesn't have kids in school, they probably think this is not real. But it is real. Okay.
I've never run into this situation.
So he goes to apologize to this megalomaniac. And she takes him to her whole community of people, all the other parents, and he has to apologize to her in front of them. And they start voicing their problems. I wasn't there, but I was deeply offended. Like,
oh
what
my God, yeah.
the F?
But that's society right now. Like, it doesn't affect you at all, but you want to sit here and bitch about it, right?
So he apologizes. He bends the knee. He apologizes to everyone. The big black dude, he's like, I feel like you were size shaming me. And he wasn't even there, by the way.
He wasn't there, yeah.
He puts on this big, giant, auction to help the school. He does all the work. He puts it all
he hasn't done it yet.
Sorry. At some point. So he does bend the knee, but she keeps pushing him, dude.
Right, yeah. He's trying.
Because she doesn't like him.
He's bending the knee to as best as he can. But he's not... she doesn't like him because he doesn't just completely, wave the white flag.
Right.
Like everybody else has. And that's a good problem with the left in our culture, or the super liberal side of our society, who is not good enough that we compromise. You must be completely do whatever I want you to do.
Yeah. You must be a slave to my will. Yes. I need you to completely bend to my will and completely adopt my way of thinking, or else.
There's no compromise. And the movie does a great job of capturing that here, where there is no compromise. And he's trying to compromise, but there's no reasonableness.
Yeah, there's none. Yeah. Also, Discount Dave finds out that his new girlfriend, who didn't want kids, is pregnant. And he's like, wait a minute. I love it when he puts his glasses on. Like, let me look at that.
Go. No, he was excellent in this movie.
Go pee
time.
Again. Do it again. Pee
again. No, and then he's having a life-altering crisis, and which the story goes through. They're all having a life-altering crisis, because Connor, Bobby's character, he's a beta male to his alpha wife.
His wife is so horrible.
Do anything about it. When he's sitting on the toilet trying to write a letter to Jack, to Bill Burr's character, and his wife is like, he has to like eat it and like throw it. It was.
She knocks on the door. He's like, he's so afraid of her.
He's so terrified of her.
And then when he thinks she's gone, he pulls out the pen and starts again. And then she's like, "What are you doing?" And he looks up. She's right there. He's like, "Nothing. I'm not doing nothing."
They did a great job. All the characters are fantastic.
Oh, God, it's great. How old do you think I am? 48? Wait, how did you know that? The neck. It's the neck.
Yeah. He's obsessed, of course, with his age and being younger. And this is just typical midlife crisis stuff. But eventually these guys end up being sent out to do a job by their new boss. And they're in a rental car, and they're having a conversation that guys would have, perhaps, that would not be necessarily proper in open public.
I'm sorry, before we get there, the scene when they're playing the auction, and they have an idea, and this guy's like, "I'm sorry, that's very white male centric."
No, he's like, "Why are white males always dominating the conversation?" And he's like, isn't this guy a white male too?
He's like, wait. Is this guy a white male? He's like, "I'm sorry, I did my ancestry in me, and I'm a 17th Cherokee or whatever."
No, it was like India or something like that, like a 3% Galapagos Islands or whatever.
It was so stupid.
It was, but they this is the stupidity of how society is right now, in a way.
Right. So they get sent off on this mission to find this guy who doesn't want to be famous.
Yeah.
And they're basically going to go and they're going to find this guy who doesn't want to be famous so they can make him famous. It's a stupid social media nonsense, stunt.
It's something that they would do.
And he sends not just three guys, but also his right-hand man, right?
Yes. Played by Justin Miles, plays the Travis.
So they're having a conversation, and by the way, I believe that this is a normal conversation friends would have, rather comfortable with each other, would have in a car on a road trip.
Right. Yeah.
It's not. It wasn't
PC.
Yeah.
It's not going to be PC.
But it wasn't also overtly offensive either. No one in there is offended by what they're saying.
Well, no one in the car is offended, but it doesn't matter if anyone in the car is offended. If anyone in society could potentially be offended by what you were saying in private, you have now failed, sir.
Right.
That is the problem. And that's what the joke. Like, the joke is like, I'm sorry, there are no cameras in rental cars, recording everything that you say and do, at least not yet. But they end up going through this entire exercise here where they trap Travis into saying something inappropriate, or that he does things inappropriate when he's alone.
Yeah, the way Discount Dave pulls it out, he basically says your conversation's offensive, and he goes, "I'm sorry, you like rap? You like hip hop?" He's like, "Yeah,
right.
Wu-Tang Clan, Dr. Dre." He goes, "You sing along
NWA?
with the lyrics?" NWA. He goes, "You sing along with the lyrics?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "What happens when you get to the N-word?" He goes,
It was so perfect. It was hilarious.
Yeah. He's like, I don't say it. what happens when you get to the N-word. It was great. This
he
guy was,
eventually gets him to break down and say he says it.
Yeah, this guy was using his, the fact that he's black to basically just dunk on this Zoomer.
Yeah.
That is being a hypocrite. It was great.
Yeah, and it was all hypocritical, and it's really a great exchange. But you come to find out that this road trip, they find the guy, it all happens. But when they get back to their workplace, the boss is waiting, and he's like, yeah, you guys, they recorded the whole conversation, and they're fired as a result of the conversation they're having in their car.
Right. The private conversation they're having in their car. Right.
And then to take it one step further,
because of the morality clause.
The morality clause, which, by the way, everybody needs to check their agreements and make sure there's no morality.
Here's the problem with the morality clause. Ready? Who has determined what I'm doing is immoral or not?
What's moral?
Right. So that's the problem. The morality clause is just a way for a business to just screw you and say because of your morality clause. Because what is moral today that wasn't moral last 10 years ago, vice versa? Who knows? It's just like this ever evolving gray area where they can set the goalpost to screw you if they don't like you anymore.
Well, the prime example is there's a teacher who dressed up this week as Satan in his classroom, and as the students came into the room, he had his little pitchfork over their head and said, "All hail Satan," as they walked into the classroom. It was a joke. It was a joke. It's Halloween, right? But it got videotaped, put on TikTok, and he was temporarily relieved of teaching.
Yeah. This is the funny part, though. He works at an Orthodox Christian school.
Well, whatever. I don't know. But but it lines up to what happens here. So now this guy Travis, who works, he's the right-hand man of Aspen. He's in his home. He's in his underwear. He's having breakfast morning, and he's saying the N-word
because he's singing along to the lyrics.
He's by himself at home singing the lyrics of a song.
Right.
And they got him on video.
Because your TV had a camera.
Because your TV has a camera on it, and it's perfectly fine to watch what you're doing and then use it against you and fire you from your job.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. I had to look it up. In certain states, it's okay to secretly record your employees while they're on the job. Like New Mexico.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, secretly record them. So like have hidden cameras, or you can have cameras out. Like
that camera hidden in the rental car in New Mexico.
Oh, well, that seems wrong. But okay.
Yeah. Welcome to authoritarian state.
So they end up even going deeper into their crisis because now they're all fired. They don't have money to pay for stuff. And everything that Bill Burr has been working towards is slowly being torn apart. And from his purview, it's because society is screwing him,
right?
But he's still trying.
He's still trying.
Which leads us to the auction that he's somehow been put in charge of to raise money for the school.
Look at him not shaving his head. He has that old guy hair on the sides.
They did a good job of showing his time passing.
Right.
By letting his hair grow out and then shaving it. That was a good job.
Yeah. And then the Discount Dave got a job at a law firm or whatever.
Yeah, they're all angry at each other. They're blaming each other.
Right. This is when he's writing on the toilet. His wife's gonna show up.
He's not allowed to hang out with Bill Burr because his wife won't allow it. Yeah. His wife won't allow him to hang out with him.
Oh my God. All right. So they're at the auction and he's doing a good job. He's doing the best he can to help the school.
Well, he's actually he's really trying. Like he said, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to give them what I think that she wants, which is to raise money. And therefore my kid is going to get the recommendation he needs to get into this special school my wife wants him to get into. Even though I went to public school and I was fine and everything worked out great, I want to do better for my kids.
Now, public school is not the way it used to be. That's for sure.
My kids in public school have no problem.
So they get to one of the last items, which is like 2 hours with this maniac.
2 hours of her private time.
And
he's got this brilliant idea.
Yeah, he gets people bidding, and they get to like $2,500 or whatever. And he's like, "Okay, guys, here, this is for me. 3,000. Who can do better than that?" And all of a sudden, everyone stops talking.
Yeah, well, he led off the bidding, and then other people were excitedly bidding, and then he got like, "Hey, I'm gonna really get a bunch of money," and he bid 3,000, thinking people were gonna go with him, and it's crickets, man. And it's like,
Crickets. He's like, "Really?
It's such an uncomfortable moment for
Really?
all of us.
You guys are all everyone's done, huh? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right."
Knowing that he has no money, right? He doesn't have a job, right? He's just put his butt in the ringer here, and and so he gets stuck with it. But he kind of, he eats the whole thing, and he's doing a good job. But then he has the conversation with Dr. Lois Schmeckel Turner.
Because the maniac rubs it in his face.
Well, that's one point of view. The other point of view is she's actually honestly concerned about him. So if you look at her words, you got to go back and look at this. Take away your bias, sir, for
My
1
bias.
second and
All
listen to her words.
Okay.
What she says is, "I heard about what happened, about you losing your job. It's got to be a terrible time that you guys are going through.
Let's play it.
We have literature for you available to you." Now, listen, from her point of view, she's trying to be helpful. Correct or incorrect?
Let's play it.
And insinuating that your financial commitment is going to buy your child.
Oh, I played the wrong part. Damn it.
Frankly surprised you'd want to spend 2 hours with me.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm full of surprises, huh?
Yes, you are. Considering I heard that you lost your job and your company.
Considering you lost your job and your company.
She's not saying it and sarcastically. She's just simply saying it. Now, listen, this is part of the problem with our society, right? She's already a difficult, despicable bitch to deal with, right?
Right.
So, but if you take a look at it honestly, and you just say, let's just take what she's saying for what she's saying, she seems to be honestly trying to help him here in her twisted, looking down upon him sort of way, right? But he's so built up with his feelings and his bias and everything going on with him, he can't help but to take it only one way, just like you did, actually. So,
Hey,
let's see what he says.
His response.
listen, Dr. L, you can drop the act, okay?
Listen, Dr. L, you can drop the act.
Yeah. Now, this is where it gets interesting,
All right, you got
because
my
he
money.
thinks that she's in it just for the money, right?
Well, which she actually was.
She actually was. We do find out at the end, right?
Right.
He's
I
made this
reckon.
assumption, right?
Her response to him, though.
We're an innocent child.
I guess I did.
Good. Well, if I was
Yeah,
privileged, I don't think I'd
she
spend
then
2
now
hours
twists the
pretending I
knife.
wanted to talk
Now
to
she's
you,
twisting the
would I?
knife.
Excuse me?
You heard
See?
me.
Yeah, she twists the knife when she says she's not going to write the recommendation letter or whatever.
Yes, right. So he's not wrong, but at the same time, that probably wouldn't have gone down like that if he hadn't have said what he said. He was triggered by the fact that she brought up the fact that he lost his job.
Right.
And
She's a
even
maniac.
though in her own weird way, she might have been trying to help him. So
And then he gets kicked out of his house.
a little bit overreaction here, I think.
Yeah,
From the
but
wife.
I would say a touch overreaction.
Like where do you expect him to sleep tonight?
Yeah. What's the plan, lady?
And he got this horrible moment where he's in front of his kid and they're yelling, and I've got flashbacks of that shit from my childhood, so it's a kind of a bummer.
And then he's
this is a
at the
great scene.
motel and he's smoking, and the motel owner walks up and says, "You can't smoke." While he's
I don't even know if it's
smoking.
the owner.
He said he was the owner. I don't know.
That's true.
He said,
And the dude's vaping. This is like right up your alley.
He's like, "What's the difference?" He goes, "I'm vaping. You're smoking." He's
See,
like,
this is an argument you would have given at some point. I know you would have.
"No. I would
You
never
used to say vaping wasn't smoking.
No, vaping is different, but I would never I was a smoker and now I vape. Why do I vape instead of smoke? Well, because vaping doesn't, like the guy says, you can't smell me from 2 miles away anymore, and it's not as offensive. But that doesn't mean I would ever tell someone outside they can't smoke while I'm vaping. That's incredibly hypocritical.
Well, so that's the point, right? That's like the whole point. Like, it is hypocritical, but from a certain point of view, vaping is not offensive, but a cigar is, right? So there's this dichotomy of thought that they're doing a great
And
job
I can
of showing
understand
us.
both points here, but
Right.
I would never be the D-bag that tells someone that when they're smoking outside not to smoke while I'm puffing on a vape.
Right.
That is
And when-
incredibly brain dead.
Right. And when the D-bag across the hallway is actually the voice of reason, they
Right.
both go, oh, shit.
They're yeah. She's the voice of reason, and she's like farting, and she's grunting.
And she's disgusting,
Oh,
right?
God.
She's like a horrible, disgusting human being.
Where
and yet
have
she's the
we
voice of
fallen?
reason. Right. That's exactly what's going on here. you
Yeah,
know?
that was the joke. It's very, very clever the way they put
Very
this
clever.
up, because this can just be funny on the outside, but then you
Mm-hmm.
look deeper and you're like, this is actually super clever.
Right. And sad, sort of.
It is a little bit, yeah. Then this guy has a falling out with his girl, and they're at a cafe and they see each other across the way.
They're like alone, right? It was hilarious. They're alone and they're in the same situation. And so they end up becoming friends again.
They're both just like sitting. It's great. Now they get their buddy, and they're going to go to Vegas,
But they don't make it.
but they don't make it to Vegas.
They don't make it to Vegas. They end up at like a Indian resort or
Indian resort, or Native American resort, or whatever you call it. Which is on the way to Vegas from
Palm
California.
Springs, basically.
Yeah, there are a lot of reservation casinos.
Yes.
You can stop at. And the guy's trying to like gamble all his money away. He's trying to tell him don't do that. And they see their boss, who was fired. Sorry,
That was hilarious, by the way.
He's there,
Aspen.
and he was fired for doing something stupid, something small and
Something ridiculous.
Ridiculous,
Yeah, something that didn't make any sense. And he's not fired. He's like on a sent away. I guess that's millennial speak for you're fired.
yeah,
or whatever.
indefinite leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Indefinite leave, which I thought the movie actually missed an opportunity here. So with this other character, Travis, earlier, who they were showing like, you do things in public, don't be a hypocrite. Now here's another moment to show this Aspen Bell character that he's been a hypocrite. And as the movie goes, he slowly almost comes to their side. Right. He now understands the plight of what they're going through. I thought the one mistake that this movie made was there was an opportunity to connect two generations together to show how we can come together as one society, no matter what generation you're on, because common sense is common sense. The truth is the truth, no matter what age you are.
Right.
And if we continue gaslighting ourselves, it doesn't mean it changes what the truth is.
Right.
And I feel like they missed that opportunity in order to focus on Bill Burr's character having the growth.
Yeah, they could have definitely have shown this guy seeing the hypocrisy of his thought process,
Right.
and then helping him grow while helping them grow. Almost like maybe they join. Maybe by the end of the movie, like these four guys, start a new t-shirt business.
Yes, or a new business where there's like a growth where, hey, the youth of the nation have learned, look, this is idiocy. We need to pay attention to our elders and learn things from the people who came before. And as older people who've moved on, understand that a new generation is coming and we have to be susceptible to some things that change.
Right.
There has to be that meeting of the hands.
Yeah, this movie was
in order
missing
to
that button,
growth.
I believe.
It was.
And it's
I
almost like they
thought
were
it was
set.
going
It's
there.
almost like they were setting it up, but they didn't stick that landing. It's almost like
It's
they
like
ended
they were-
too soon.
Yeah, they were missing that one. They needed one voice in the room to say, oh God, guys, you want to make this like an epic, picture of the year that really captures society. And it's
Something people talk about in 20 years.
Exactly. Yes.
Like
Idiocracy.
Right, like Idiocracy. Yeah, but so they missed that. There was this moment, like they did go to a strip club. I'm going to skip over that part so we don't get demonetized. But they do go to a strip club, and they get in a fight with a bouncer, and this guy does use his millennial tactics to get them out of it. He pulls out his phone, and he's like, I'm live streaming on TikTok right now, guys.
Yeah.
And he does.
Which is something we would all agree is like one good thing about society is the fact that we can put light on things that are evil.
Right. He eventually gets back to he has to use a scooter, by the way, that he hates so bad.
So he first meets a taxi driver. This is really important.
That taxi driver. That's right.
Bruce Dern. God damn, I love Bruce Dern.
He was in The Burbs, remember?
Yes, The Burbs. He's been in so many great things.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Dern plays a character that is a mirror for Bill Burr. He sees his future in this decrepit old character who hates everything,
Mm-hmm.
and has allowed evil to destroy, or not evil, has allowed hate to destroy his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it was really great to have this character. I thought it was good for character building, and I love that Bill Burr has to get out, and he gets on the
same scooters that he was railing against earlier.
And he realizes, oh my God, this is fun.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I've been on those things myself, and they are fun.
I love this. He goes, how do I do this? He goes, you have scan it. Scan with your phone. Discount Dave can't do that because he still has a flip phone.
A flip phone. Right.
Great.
It's all great.
So you have a flip phone. Get on. Yeah. So he goes, he misses the birth of his child. I believe that his wife was still being a bee at this point for some reason.
Well, she's still angry. She's still angry. Yeah. She's not certain that he can change. She sees, let me tell you what his wife sees. His wife sees Bruce Dern, right? The future,
right?
The future of who that character is, the destruction of their family because he can't get along a little bit with other people.
Right.
It always has to be his way. And that is the growth of this character.
I thought it was funny when she goes, you want to hold your kid? And he goes, yeah. And the nurse is like, let me wipe that glitter off first.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, the nurse is actually pretty good there.
Yeah, the nurse is great. She made me laugh. Ultimately, the movie wraps up with him just sort of like, all three of them just sort of like learning how to sort of deal with their future. And because they can't change the current situation, because they can't really change it. So they have to like grow and modify themselves. So like we said earlier, I think there was a lost opportunity here. There could have been growth on both sides. I believe there was an ending that was missing, like for sure. We should have seen those four guys working together at a new t-shirt shop. There should have been some kind of dialogue that wrapped up both generations, because like maybe you're really young, maybe you're a Zoomer and you're like, I think those guys are idiots. Well, they think you're idiots. So,
right.
So there's things to learn on both sides, every generation. And the current generation, to be honest, I'm gonna say, just like South Park did, like they don't know how to do shit. They're living in this sort of like reality that is manufactured by social media. And when you are living in a reality manufactured by social media, then everything is fake. And when you are so engrossed in that fake reality that your fake reality starts to become your actual reality, and you start treating people in the real world at work and at home and your family and your friends and your teachers or whatever, the way you would treat someone as if you were behind a keyboard is fabric of our reality destroying stuff. And there's got to be some kind of growth. And I hope that this current Zoomer generation is pretty rough. I hope that when they start getting older, they start growing out of it. But this is the worst I've seen in a long time. I'm not just the old guy screaming at the wind here. I've been through a few generations, and this one is really bad. And I think it's because I think it's social media. I think social media and the internet has pretty much destroyed like the thought process and the idea of respect
or individuality.
And
individuality is being destroyed.
My wife works at a school, and yesterday, they pulled a security guard into a classroom, locked the door, and assaulted this woman with their phones on.
What?
Yep. They assaulted her. She was a larger security guard, and they didn't assault her like physically, but they were like throwing stuff at her.
The security guard's a woman?
Yeah, the security guard is a larger woman.
Okay.
They pulled her into a room, locked the door.
Who's they?
The kids that go to the school.
Oh, okay. The kids.
And they were filming her, throwing stuff at her, just verbally assaulting her, and they were filming it, and she threw out an expletive at the kids because she felt threatened, and she was punished.
Really? That happened at your wife's
This
school?
happened yesterday. 3 days ago, or last Friday, there was a fight. 2 kids were getting in a fight, and they had like this ring, like what kids do at school. Well, the disciplinary principal and security guards, they push their way to the middle of the ring. The second they do, the 2 kids in the middle of the ring scatter, and now kids are throwing food, literally throwing food at the principal, the disciplinary principal, and the guards. They have almost zero respect. They're just animalistic, and they believe they're in the right. The entire time they think they're the righteous ones while they are acting like animals.
Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, parents who don't hold your kids accountable.
Filming it the entire time. And here we are. And these are teenagers, 16 to 18-year-olds. This is the next generation of people. The next generation of people that are going to be getting jobs and shit. Like, they act like that.
No, they won't. They won't be getting jobs. They'll be living at home with their parents. It's all good, though.
It's crazy. And you ask yourself, like, I'm not sure how we get past this one. And I'm not the old guy staring at the wind. This is a real thing right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm sure that there are, baby steps, but, at what point does, some of these kids just need harsh reality. That's what it is. And, accountability, and a lot of that's not happening in some of the inner city schools, unfortunately. Old Dads is sitting at number 8 movie of the year for me.
Wow.
It did. It actually falls below Oppenheimer, but above Talk to Me, which was a very good horror movie this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Number 8. I'm seeing it right now. Look at that. All right. I don't know where I would put it on my list, but number 8 is pretty good. Okay. All right. So that's it for Old Dads. I would give it a go. It's a good movie. Like I said, I do believe it ended a little too soon. I believe that we needed some kind of wrap up to make this a classic. But
I think it could have been the best movie of the year if it had just captured that societal moment.
It was so close. It was so close.
It was. Yeah.
It was so close. Like I needed like an extra 15 minutes, and you could have done it so close.
Bring us all together. Man, that's what we're looking for.
All right. Well, speaking of that, John Burns, 279. Why are you landing in Indianapolis? Funny Bill Burr. Yeah, Bill Burr is really funny. He's close to becoming my favorite comedian right now. I've gone back and watched, since I watched the movie, I listened to one of his specials while I was working, and he is really, really funny. He's a little angry. But where I am in my life, angry works. So
that's true.
Okay, and No Money G for $10. What's up, No Money G? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, man. Welcome back. I was just reading the reviews for this movie. The ones giving it a low score are the people that are the problem in this movie.
LOL, man. No, it's true. That is so true.
We should look at that. It's on Rotten Tomatoes, right?
It's hard for people to look at things from a different viewpoint. It's very difficult to turn off your bias, no matter what side you're on, and be able to look at it from a point of honesty. And I have a feeling that those reviewers are going to have a hard time doing it.
Yeah, look at this. Look. 88% audience score.
Oh my God.
26% critics. Hey, guess what, guys? Every single time, without fail, every time Shay and I love a movie, every single time, the tomato meter is just like this. The critics super low, audience super high. At some point you go, okay, so the critics just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about.
No, they're just trying to keep a job. This is self-preservation, because in your liberal publications, you're not going to get to review the next movie if you highly review a quote unquote conservative right-wing point of view.
It wasn't even right-wing or conservative, though.
No. That's why I put it in air quotes.
Right.
Because that's the perception that any of these opinions are obviously the opposite side of the political spectrum. And as we all know, the political spectrum and your political belief is all that matters. The truth doesn't matter. Like, if the truth gets in the way of who you want to be in some sort of public office, then fuck the truth. And that's the reality, man.
Right.
That's the way our society works right now. Whether you're the news, the newspaper, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as your side wins, that's all that matters. And humanity is cursed by this competitive desire. And I'll tell you what, it's going to destroy our culture if it keeps up.
Here's this guy gives it a score of a D, and I don't know why it's a fresh tomato. He says a vulgar and unfunny comedy. How does Rotten Tomatoes work?
He gave it a fresh.
He gave
probably
it a
because the story was good.
Maybe he doesn't know how to use Rotten Tomatoes.
That's a good point.
Louisa Moore at Rotten. Quality-wise, it lands squarely in the middle of the pack, which is probably just good enough for its intended audience. Wow, already hitting the audience right there. Immediately.
Attack the audience. Attack the audience.
Attack the audience. Attack the people that are going to like this movie. That's what good reviewers do. For the rest of us, it's another throwaway comedy with stale jokes at a watered-down premise. I've never seen this. Have you seen this, Shane?
What?
Have you seen this premise before?
Never.
Not once. I've never seen. I'm 42 years old. I have never seen this premise. So where are you getting this?
It's what people want to hear. Read a fresh one.
All right. This movie as a whole is just a clothesline to hang a string of grievances against an ultra-sensitive and hypocritical society. But like Bill Burr's stamp material, when it hits, it can be very funny.
That's true.
The writing sometimes collapses into overkill, but sometimes it is precisely on point.
Fair, honest. All right.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. Well, these reviewers are stupid. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what the hell they're talking about, man. Like, I'm sorry, but like that reviewer that said a stale joke and watered down premise, she has to be being dishonest, right? Because I've never seen that premise before.
Well,
I've seen thousands and thousands of movies.
From the point of view of the alternate side of her point of view, it's because she doesn't like it. And it's stale because you people who like this movie, this is all it's stale. You guys always think the same thing. It's watered down. It's all you guys talk about. That's what she's really talking about. Not the movie. She's not being she's not trying to gauge the movie for itself or based on other movies, only based on your political side of the spectrum. That's what she's reviewing.
So she's criticizing the idea, not the movie. Got it.
Exactly.
Some of the audience reviewers are pretty good. I'll show you. I want 10 seasons of this. One film wasn't enough.
That's true.
But by the looks of it, a big part of the so-called critics don't like being criticized themselves in a movie.
Fair enough. It's true.
I create an account just to come on here and rate this movie. If you have a sense of humor, you'll like this movie. If you think everything in life needs to be PC, you won't.
Yeah. So, most of culture understands. Most people who are quiet most of the time agree, probably. Yeah. A few more super chats here, and then we'll move on to the box office.
Okay. Okay. Let me get the next one. John Burns, 279. We prefer the term humanistic. I can't even say the word. Humanistic, Brian.
Non-humanistic.
Gotcha.
Well said, John.
Thank you, John. You're on fourth for 50 sec. Younglings of today. I love that. Younglings of today need to be put in place. Hate entitled hate. Hats. So are you saying that we need Anakin Skywalker to deal with the younglings?
That sounds like what he's saying. What we need is a proverbial. We need it from the proverbial sense. We don't actually want to kill anybody, but they do need an ass whooping. Essentially, that's what they need. Everybody needs an ass whooping.
Yeah. Mark Normand. John Burns 299. Porn is more diverse than Disney. Oh, goodness gracious.
That sounds like a deep cut, John.
That is a deep cut.
Awesome.
Yeah. Someone said too, like, Lord Thoth said, the problem is there's no threat of discipline. There is no discipline anymore.
That's the problem.
And you know what I was thinking? Like,
no consequences.
When my wife was telling me this story, this horrifying story of a security guard who is sitting there being mobbed in a locked room. And I'm realizing the frustration this person must have felt when she can't do anything. She can't mace these kids. She can't hit these kids. So she yells some expletives, and because she cursed around the kids, she got suspended. So she can't even curse when she is feeling threatened or she suffers in some way. I told my wife, listen, if that security guard is suspended, you should hire me for a couple days. I will beat the shit out of every one of those prison. Kids.
No, you can't.
But babe, you need to hire me under a different name. Let's say, Rob Montoya. And then I'll be on there. I will put the fear of God into those kids. I will walk around, and every kid that looks at me sideways, I'll just backhand randomly. I'll just be like, I'll be a menace until I'm fired. And then when the cops show up to try to find Rob Montoya, I'll be gone.
Do you know why kids are getting away with this stuff and why the schools aren't doing anything? Because the schools are afraid that the kids aren't going to come to school. And if the kids don't come to school, they don't get paid. It's that simple.
That's true.
And you know what? Parents these days, they don't really care if their kids are going to school. They don't.
It's crazy.
It's a thing. It's like a whole backwards thing. If I was that security guard, I would file complaints. I would start filing, official complaints with people, and take it as far as the school board and say, look, something has to be done. Children should not be allowed to force a security guard into a room, lock the door, and then harass the security guard.
No.
There needs to be consequences. Not only,
Right.
there could be criminal consequences.
There should be.
For that behavior.
Yeah. What happened to juvenile? Like, is there juvie anymore? Like, what's going on?
I think it still exists, but listen, when was the last time you saw somebody get pulled over on the side of the road? I haven't seen a cop pull somebody over. Cops don't pull people over anymore. You want to know why?
They're afraid.
They're afraid. Right. Teachers are afraid. Cops are afraid. We've created a society that's afraid to do anything because of the consequences.
I'm gonna start just like flipping off random cops. Like, what's up?
Well, no, you will get pulled over. No. You're a white male. You will get pulled over. No.
Like, wait, I thought you guys weren't pulling people over anymore. Get out of the car, sir.
Get out of the car.
He's like, you're white. We can beat you up.
We can do whatever we want.
No one cares. Get on the floor.
What was that South Park comment that black woman Cartman?
Oh, you can't be racist toward white people.
Racist if it's against white people. That's what they said.
I would totally get beaten up on the side. Shane said you guys were pulling people over.
Who's this Shane, and how can we beat him too?
Oh yeah, Shane. Is that your brother? Okay. What's his address?
Sounds like a white name.
Sounds like a white name to me. Shane, they're on the way to you, bro. They're not even from your jurisdiction. They're driving all the way up there. What they said was they've been really wanting to beat people up for a long time, and we're the first people that gave my reason.
We're the only safe ones to attack.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, man. My wife comes home with like horror stories of this monster generation. I posted on Twitter the other day a video clip I found of some Zoomer just getting in the face of some people at like a ethnic restaurant.
Oh, that was an old video, by the way. That's like 6 or 8 months old.
Well, I know.
Yeah,
but I've had that video on my hard drive for a while. And it was after I heard the story. I don't have the video of the security guard getting beat up, but I'm sitting there and I'm watching that video and I'm like, I'm just waiting, for a right hook. Like someone just punch the kid. Like the problem is the kid has never faced any kind of discipline for his actions. So he feels totally and completely invulnerable.
Well, they are. That is the problem. Kids are totally and completely invulnerable now. And listen, nobody wants to hit or beat kids. But if there's no fear, if children don't have any fear of something, being grounded, having something taken away, physical punishment, then they're not going to learn. They're children. Their brains don't develop until they're almost 25 years old. There's, something has to be done.
I have a solution.
This is terrible.
You know the answer. I feel
like your solution is going to be violence.
No. It's not violent. I'm not going to commit the violence. I'm too old.
Okay.
We need to bring back bullies.
Well, that's the problem is like, they got rid of all the bullies.
Right.
Yeah.
We need bullies back. Sorry to say. Look, guys, I don't like bullies either, but you know what? It was obviously an important part of the ecosystem.
It's like killing off a killing off a species.
So what you did was you killed off the apex predator,
right?
And now all the prey are just running amok, shitting on everything, damaging. They're destroying houses and lawns. They're harassing cars because you got rid of the apex predator.
Yeah, that's it.
You can't look. An ecosystem is a delicate thing. Just same as humans. If you remove the apex predator from an ecosystem, what happens? The rabbits F like rabbits, and now we're all being terrorized by deers and rabbits.
You can also say that that the bullies can stay gone, but they remove the apex predator known as the accountable parent. So the accountable parent who taught their children right from wrong and held them accountable when they did things wrong, and allowed teachers in schools to hold kids accountable when they did things wrong. They don't need to be bullies. There need to be adults who hold kids accountable.
Well,
that's what we really need.
So what about this? Instead of bullies, what about proper peers that where you can make fun of your friend for doing or saying something stupid? You can't do that anymore. Like, listen, a big part of my growth as a teenager was my friends being like, yo, what are you doing? Hey, dumbass, you look stupid right now. I don't think they hate me for that. You imagine today, that would be a hate crime, right? It'd be a horrible thing. No, but my peers, they gave me shit for things when I did something stupid, when I said stupid stuff, when I showed up looked like dressed dumb, or my hair was ridiculous, or I ate it trying to hit on a girl. I was trained at a young age by my peers. I was shamed.
You were shamed. There is no shaming. Yeah.
There is no shaming anymore.
Well, because everything is now anonymous. So there's no more ability to shame someone because there's no being in the presence of society to be shamed. So now when it happens on the Oculus Quest, I see it all the time. I've got my 10-year-old who plays this gorilla tag game, and these kids are constantly yelling at each other and saying terrible things to each other. And dude's like, dude, I'll get you. I'll kill you. I'll get you. I'm like, no, you won't, because you're virtually someplace else. And so there's nothing literally you can do about it. So there's this whole learning thing that's happening with these young people where there's no consequences. I
saw a story a few months ago. It was about, teen, 3 moms arrested for having sexual relations with a minor, a teen. And they showed the picture of the teen and he was smiling. And someone in the comments was like, that's the guy that says over comms, I'm going to F your mom, and then follows through.
Yeah. Well,
public shaming, guys. Yeah. What's wrong with ball busting? Shane, what did you do yesterday? I made a mistake. Yesterday that cost us like $150.
Oh. And then I shamed you. Yes.
All right. I didn't know I made the mistake. At some point, I made the mistake probably a month ago. I still don't know when I did. But Shane messaged me. He goes, "Do you hate me?"
Yeah, I did do that.
And I was like what? I was like, WTF? I'm like, no. He goes, I think you hate me. And then he gets on the phone and he ball busted me. And then when I saw the reason, I'm like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to do that. Look, guys, it's important that we criticize each other, not out of hate, but out of love. There's nothing wrong with criticizing people. Why can we not criticize people anymore? Why is everyone a hero? Everyone is perfect. Everything you do is completely fine. It's your truth. Fuck that, okay? There is one truth. There is true and there is truth.
There is the truth.
There is no your truth or my truth. There is the truth, motherfucker. And if you can't deal with the truth, then you need to be publicly shamed. If you can't deal with the truth, then someone needs to tell you that you're wrong. There is no your truth. Everything you do is not perfect. The way you look is not perfect. It's okay to be better. It's okay. It's okay to strive for better. Guess what, guys? I'm fat. I'm working on it, okay? And it's okay if you were like, yeah, you know, if everyone just told me how great I looked all the time, I wouldn't try to be better.
It's true.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I think there's a lesson. I think there's a happy gray area, you know, where we're not ruining someone's life for shaming them or beating them up, but you're getting some sort of growth out of it. I'm coaching soccer right now. Great example is of the kids. The kids are 10 and 11 years old, the kids that I'm coaching soccer. And routinely, because these kids are always playing online with other kids and not interacting socially with other kids, there'll be times when one kid beats another kid and is better than another kid. And then the kid who got beat cries or gets upset because he got beat and then wants some sort of like correction so that he's not the one who got beat. And I'm simply saying, you got to practice and get better.
Yeah.
That's it. There's it's not his fault that you got beat. You can only blame yourself.
Yeah.
And that's not what society wants to hear. And I'll probably be fired next week for
no,
telling
you're right.
that.
But isn't that the problem with awarding someone for losing? Like, we shouldn't do that. Why would you award someone for losing?
You wouldn't. You shouldn't.
You can't see it behind me right now because it's too high, but there are 7 international plaques. Okay. Those plaques, you get them for meeting a goal that is hard to meet. Not that it's easy, because if it was easy, then they wouldn't be valuable to me. They're only like the silver plaque. Wait, we have that. That is a trophy. The same one behind Shane. That's a trophy for something that we accomplished.
Yeah.
Why would we give a crap about it? Why would we hang it on the wall if we can get it for doing nothing or for failing? Like, why would you care about something if you got it for failing? I don't understand the concept behind that.
Because people are concerned that if they don't give their kids a prize, even when they lose, that their feelings are going to be hurt and they're going to be sad. And nobody wants to see their kids be sad.
I just lost Shane. Oh, there we go.
Unfortunately, your kids have.
Oh, Shane. Shane, you there, buddy?
I'm here.
Okay, I lost you for a second. You back?
Yeah, hopefully it
Let me increase.
continues. But your kids, it's okay for them to be sad. I'm keep freezing. So
all right, you're back.
You know what that means is I'm slowly dying.
Yeah, no, it's okay for your kids to be sad.
Yeah, kids have to.
That's a character building trait, right?
Yes.
So
as long as you're there to pick up the pieces,
right,
as a parent,
and help them progress.
The real fallacy here, the thing that fails, is if you give your kids a participation trophy, then yeah, sure, they're not sad for a moment, but they also don't feel very special, or they feel a little special for a second. The better thing to do would be like for the other kid to win the prize because the other kid was better. Your kid gets nothing. They go home and cry, and then you sit there and pick up the pieces and say, well, let's do whatever it takes to help make you better so that you can be the kid standing on the podium.
Right. So you can have the trophy. So
that's what should happen.
Right. So you can feel the same. You can feel
because you worked for it and you deserved it.
Yeah. Someone at your house, by the way, is now downloading something, just so you know. It's funny.
Here.
Bill Burr made a funny point about sports. And he's like, and I just heard this recently. He's like, why are women's pro sports failing? Because they don't make money. They don't get the contracts they do. They don't get the TV rights or whatever. He goes, but feminists will blame men in general, for women's sports failing. But if women's sports are failing, that means that women aren't showing up to watch it either. So you can blame other people for your project or your sport failing, but the people that are blaming men are also not showing up to watch it. Well
said.
And we're in this society where people want someone to blame for their failures instead of getting better and learning more and progressing and figuring out how to be the winner and the guy on the podium and the guy that gets to hold the trophy.
Well, before we move on to box office business, we got a couple more super chats here.
Yes, we do. My bad. So John Burns 279 says, see the video of the guard side of the story? No, she wasn't holding a video.
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
But
all the mean kids. You want to 10 sec just for shits and giggles? Thank you.
Thank you, Euron.
Thank you, my friend.
By the way, Euron sends me some really awesome like autos. We share a love of old muscle cars. It's been nice communicating with him on Discord.
Let me tell you something. There is a my dream car is a 66 blacked out bucket seat. I'm not bucket seat, a bench seat Impala. That's what
Whose
I want.
isn't? That's all I want to know. Whose isn't?
Well, that's
a supernatural car. I hear you.
no. 2 years before the Supernatural car.
Mm.
Specifically, the Supernatural car is nice, but I want the one with the thinner body. John Burns 279, but that's a good car too. Phrase of the day: no one wants to hit or beat kids.
I did say that.
Speak for yourself. John Burns again 279. Adam Carolla parents on trial, kids bang school. Yeah, Adam Carolla is another one of those sort of truth sayers in the way that he sort of addresses like public school and private school and parenting. Adam Carolla is falling out of popularity because unlike Bill Burr, he doesn't change his talking points a lot. So he'll continue to speak on the same, and I get it. It's not changing or getting better. So he continues to show examples of the problems that he is experiencing.
But he's falling out of touch.
Yeah. At some point, we're like, look, we get it, bro. Inspectors approving your permits for your house. I know it's a problem, but we've heard you tell the story about the stupid drain for your dishwasher like 50 times, dude. You got to switch it up. I love Adam, but he's got to switch it up. He's got to bring some new material to the game. That's all I'm saying.
You're on Falth for SEK 20 SEK. Thank you so much, brother. Blame others, the easy way in life. God, that is such a good point. I want to highlight this just for a second. It is so easy to just blame other people. One of the hardest things you can do is to have personal accountability. It's difficult. And a lot of times we need other people to help us be personally accountable. We just aren't strong enough to hold ourselves accountable for things. We require other human beings to help us, to remind us to be accountable so that we can see the light and then become better people as a result of it. It's a requirement. And we're losing that in the society because it's no longer acceptable to hold other people accountable.
That's true. That's 100% true. Jeremy Snyder for $5 on the members side. He said, a much watch for Bill Burr fans. Search on YouTube, Bill Burr Philadelphia incident. Oh, I will be doing that later, my friend.
Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate that.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the Dork Knight, welcome to the cast member. He's joined the cast member. Thanks for having you again, Danny. Appreciate you being here.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And from Michael Nemo on the member side as well, he said, Michael Nemo, $5, he said, did you see the SNL skit Star Charter Andromeda? No.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, we're going to have to look that up. I will check that out, Mike.
Let's join it over in the member section. Maybe we'll show it there.
Well, yeah, over there. We'll check it out. And we'll check out the Philadelphia incident too.
Yes. And for now, we're going to go over to Box Office Bingo.
Box Office Beat. Box Office Beat.
You haven't recognized that I've changed the word every time I've said it.
I know. I have recognized it. It's driving me nuts.
I couldn't remember that it's beat.
I think you're just trying to mess with me at this point.
I'm not. No, seriously. I couldn't remember that it was beat. So I kept thinking, all right, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Let's go over to Box Office Beat.
The Box Office Beat. I still have to make the stinger for that. I forgot again this week. Oh, man, that sucks.
Where Taylor Swift now just owns the box office. Everything about the box office belongs to Taylor Swift, who not only owns the music industry, but now owns the box office. As last weekend, she still managed to take the biggest cut of the box office at $33 million, beating the crap out of Killers of the Flower Moon, a Martin Scorsese film that only earned $23.3 million. Taylor Swift, what is going on, Brian? Tell me.
I don't have an answer for you. But I can say this. I hated Killers of the Flower Moon with such a passion.
Oh God, okay.
No, with such a passion.
Yeah.
That I am happy Taylor Swift is beating it.
Wow.
Because now I can say Killers of the Flower Moon is so bad, Taylor Swift's replay of her tour beat it. It's bad, bro. I'm sorry. It's bad. It's not good.
I mean, I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. I didn't think it was bad. It wasn't a bad movie.
It was a bad
It was
movie.
slow. Not a bad movie.
No, I the more I think about it, the more I realize it wasn't a good movie. It was a bad movie. I tried to give it more credit for what it's due because it's Martin scores.
Well,
I
the
can't think of-
acting's fantastic, though. I mean, it's it can't be a bad movie. If everything is bad, it's bad. Can we just say the truth for you? It's a slow movie. Can't we just say that? Why does it have to be a bad movie?
because there's things it's somehow it's a slow movie where there's also massive things missing, explanations not that are required to get you engaged in the movie, and the characters completely non-existent. The pacing is all over the place. It's slow, but also somehow not informative enough. It's one of those movies that this is the way I see it. It's a movie that takes itself so seriously, it forgets to tell the story correctly.
Can we also, though, in fairness, just to be fair, note that you did fall asleep several times during the movie, and it is possible that you missed some things.
It was so boring. God.
I mean, there was a couple of things that they should have explained better, but I think there's probably more holes in it than you, just because of your experience. And if I were somehow be able to force you, which I know you won't watch it again, if somehow I was able to force you to watch it again, in a second viewing, you would probably say, oh, this movie is better than I thought it was. I would think.
I don't know about that.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, it's not a great movie by any sense of the term. It's not. No. But it's better than Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour.
You know what?
Okay?
I haven't seen The Eras Tour, so I don't even know.
It's fucking music and someone
Maybe I should watch The Eras Tour and compare the two.
No.
You know what?
Watch it. Watch her dance across the thing and sing her songs.
Guys, next week,
there's no story. There's no acting. There's no drama.
You don't know.
It's music.
You haven't seen it.
I've seen many, many of these things.
You haven't seen it.
From
so you know
Cher to...
Guys, this weekend, I'm going to watch Taylor Swift The Eras Tour and Killers of the Flower Moon back to back.
I quit.
And the next Friday...
If Brian's watching this, I quit.
And next Friday, I'm going to tell you which one I found more entertaining.
No. That's not the argument here. Which one's a better movie? More entertaining.
Which one did I feel was the best use of my money?
Okay, that's fair. That's actually fair. That's fair.
Okay.
So those were the top two movies of the latest weekend. The Exorcist Believer, cleaning up a little bit, and Paw Patrol, just barely raking in a little bit of money. Even the classic, The Nightmare Before Christmas, almost made more money than Paw Patrol. I'm just saying, and that movie was out, decades ago.
Yeah.
Looking at the latest dailies, Killers of the Flower Moon is winning each day. There is almost no competition, so there's not a big surprise on that. Next week, we'll go over the October numbers, because we are at the end of the month, to see who has won the month. But as of right now, Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, is winning October.
Yeah.
It's winning October. I can't believe I'm saying
What happened to horror movies in October? Like, we just don't have
They're
them?
all out. They're all out. But Exorcist the Believer, which is currently the highest grossing movie of October up to this point, just was not a good movie. It was bad. And Saw 10 was it was the 10th movie. The real burner here is Killers of the Flower Moon is not doing great. It's sitting at $30 million since its release. And wow.
And you know what? Let's check the Rotten Tomatoes score. Let's see.
Well, you know what it's going to be.
I do know. You know what? But you know what? Our fans, our viewers here, they need to see what we see. All right, guys. Here we go. 92%, 85%. Best movie ever.
It's not that bad of a movie. I mean, I got to tell you, it's the best acting of Leonardo DiCaprio's career, probably, except for maybe What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Wasn't a bad movie. I will never watch it again.
Wasn't a good movie.
I wouldn't say it was a bad movie, though. It's just,
you think it deserves 92%?
Listen, I also won't watch Dances with Wolves ever again. But Dances with Wolves was a good movie.
That was a good movie. That's a much better movie.
There's some movies you only ever need to watch once. and they're just fine. I like the movie with the asteroid. What's the darn
Armageddon?
Totally lost it. Armageddon. I love Armageddon.
I do too.
I
What's
love
wrong?
Armageddon.
What's wrong
I
with
will watch
Armageddon?
Armageddon 2 to 5 times a year, no problem whatsoever.
I don't need
but
to
it's
watch
not
it
the
that
greatest movie.
often. It's not.
I
Yeah,
would.
No, it's funny. I just recently saw Ben Affleck's commentary about
really
Armageddon, and it was so funny. Oh my god, this Ben Affleck is hilarious. He's like, yeah. So I asked him. I was talking to Bruckheimer, and I'm like, why would we train drilling people to be astronauts instead of training astronauts to be drillers?
because it's cool as hell, and it's
he's
Bruce
like-
Willis.
He's like, shut up, Ben.
How are you talking yourself out of this movie, Ben?
He's like, drilling is not that hard. He's like, these guys train to be astronauts, but they can't put something into the ground and push hard. Like, I don't get it. It was great. Listen, regardless of how silly the movie's premise is, it's a fun movie to watch.
Can I just tell you that Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, has just taken over Scream 6 in the worldwide box office for the year, and is about to overtake Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. I just want to point that out, that it is number 23 on the worldwide list of movies for the year. So that's where we're at, society. Taylor Swift's concert can defeat all other movies in the theater.
Okay.
Yeah. What do we have coming this week?
Also in the box office beat, there's something I wanted to bring up last week. I completely forgot. I did want to bring this up. We are going to be getting a live action Gargoyles. Do you guys remember? Do you remember, Shane, the cartoon Gargoyles?
I believe I'm too old for that one.
You might be too old. I'm in that sweet spot. Gargoyles was actually voiced by a ton of Star Trek alum. All the characters.
I don't know, what is this about?
Gargoyles it was a cartoon about gargoyles that would come to life at night when the sun went down.
Okay.
And when they came to life, they would basically they'd have adventures. They would fight crime. There was a whole like multiple season arc of stories, and it was written by really talented people. It was voiced by Michael Dorn, Jonathan Frakes, a ton of Star Trek people.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those cartoons that if you watched it, you would never forget it. It was very epic in its scope. It wasn't silly or childish. There was murder and there was death. There was real fighting, and it was a adult cartoon before there were adult cartoons. Now there wasn't no cursing or whatever, but there was some seriously adult themes in this, and a lot of people really loved it. And it looks like we're gonna get live action Gargoyle for Disney Plus.
So something else for him to ruin. Cool. All right.
And James Wan is
James Wan's
I mean, maybe they're gonna ruin it. Maybe not.
I mean, I would rather be pessimistic up front,
Right.
because my optimism tank is empty. It'd be cool if something was successful. Although I will say, it's not a box office thing, but actually we'll talk about it after this. I do have a small thing to say about Quantum Leap.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. So the Gary Doberman from, The Nun, Annabelle, blah, 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 horror guy, he's the one writing. So it might be good. Or it might not be. I don't know, but
We'll see.
I feel like I have to be optimistic because everything fails me so often that I have to hope.
I can't be. I'm now choosing to be pessimistic, but hoping for optimism once I've seen it. I can't hope for anything to be good until I'm now going to assume everything's bad until it's good. That's the point I've gotten to. Everything now is bad until proven. So you're guilty until proven innocent in the movie theater industry right now.
Gotcha.
In my opinion. If you want to get out to the movies, of course, you just saw a review of Five Nights at Freddy's. I think it's worthy, although I would pick it up on Peacock if you can get it.
Right.
If you're not here in our country, then grab a VPN so you can watch Five Nights at Freddy's. Otherwise, if you want the movie experience, I do think it's worth the price of admission. And next week, before our next show comes on, you'll have a chance to watch Priscilla, which is Elvis Presley's wife, and it's her movie made about her life. Not sure if we're going to cover it or not, but that is the big movie coming out next week.
Okay. You ready for some weekly weird?
The weekly weird. Yeah. Before we do the weekly weird, I just want to, can we catch a couple of super chats?
Yeah.
And also I want to have a comment about Quantum Leap.
Oh, yes, you're right. John Burns, 279. Thank you, John. Shane pushing Brian's sleeping ahead away in movies.
He went to the movies with someone else, and that person did wake him up multiple times.
Yeah, I kept getting woken up. I was like, bro, do you recognize?
To sleep here?
Yeah, what are you doing? Why are you waking me up? By the way, it's the same guy. I saw Dumb Money, which I actually liked a lot. We weren't doing our show at the time, so we couldn't talk about it. But Dumb Money was a really great movie. But I think I liked it so much because I was there. Like I was on
part of it.
I was on Wall Street Bets. I was also, I was doing the whole thing. I took my same friend that to Killers of the Flower Moon to see Dumb Money, and poor guy fell asleep. He was so uninterested because he wasn't there. He had nothing. Yeah, he knows nothing about the meme wars. The soldiers that took billions of dollars from hedge funds.
Right.
For me, it's like I'm not only am I buying that movie, I'm gonna get the steelbook of that motherfucker and I'm gonna put it behind me. It's gonna be one of those moments in time that I was there, man. I had a username on that subreddit.
That's cool. That's the way I do for The Big Short back in 2008.
You're on fault again. Thank you, Jan, for 50 SEK. Shane, I could share my love of muscle cars with you for the next 6 months, 6 weekends until Christmas.
All right, brother. That's what I'm talking about.
I do.
You'll have to let us know what happens at Christmas.
I need more money so I can actually buy a car to restore. That's what I need. But I'm not there.
That's like a dream, but I don't have the time nor the know-how, so it would be a complete waste for me.
Right.
I do want to say something about Quantum Leap. I know we used to cover Quantum Leap during the first season. We stopped because it became this weird thing. I've been watching season 2. I've been watching every episode of season 2. And I just want to say, I went back and watched the old Quantum Leap and with Scott Bakula. and I was watching it each night, and I was watching it from the lens of when I was a kid and the things that were important to me, like not being racist, like the way people are treated, fairness between, all the sexes, all the topics that Quantum Leap in that time frame took on head on. They really took them head on. There were episodes of the original Quantum Leap where they were really, pushing hard against the fabric of society that was really alienating people. And I recognize, wow, at that time, it would have been tough to talk about those things. I mean, it should be something that everybody should be on. But there were people at the time who were like, look, I don't want to mix interracially, and I don't want to blah, 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 who would have fought against the same type of things that we're seeing today in Quantum Leap. Now, season 2 has not been very woke, in my opinion, so far. But we are going to have those elements. And I just have a whole kind of different, fresh perspective.
Was it better than that first episode was hyper woke? Did it get better after that?
Yes. I do think it really has gotten better. And it's focused more on the story. And you have Addison and Ben are now, on the outs because it's 3 years later and she's got a new relationship. And it's created a whole new dynamic. So I would say if you are watching Quantum Leap, it might be worth revisiting some of the episodes. I've kind of stopped hoping or expecting Scott Bakula to come back. And so I'm kind of done with that. And I'm actually pretty comfortable watching the show to the point where I've actually enjoyed the last 3 episodes. So I just wanted to share that with everybody since I know we have some Quantum Leap fans here.
Well, I will check it out. I stopped watching after that first episode. I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm good. And by the way, my bar is so low for me to stop watching something. Like I'm still watching Survivor. And it's garbage. Yeah. So if my bar is that low, you have to put an episode out that is so bad that I'm like that my brain just goes like, oh, I no longer want to see where this story goes, even if
Right.
it's in a poor place. Like that's hard for you to get me there because I'm willing to watch just about anything. It's crazy. All right. Yeah, so check it out. So what we got the weekly weird. And what I did was I wanted to set up a series of headlines, and then Shane, you get to choose which headline we speak about.
The girl complaining about her job. Please let that be it. Please.
No, that's
Please.
that one's funny, but that's too popular.
Oh my God.
If anyone didn't see that, it's super popular. It's some lady complaining about it's a girl complaining about having to go to and from work. All right.
She's complaining about having to work a 9-to-5 job and not having any life as a result of having to go to work. Brian, we're screwed. Our society is so screwed.
Yeah. You want to hear more? You know what? You got it, bro. I'm gonna pull this up because I was also going through the comments of this. Here. Here we go. All right. The comments of this are even more outlandish.
Insane.
Yes. Oh man, they deleted the post.
No way, really?
Yeah. What the heck? Oh, hold on. I'll get it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, this was originally put up as a TikTok, and it was a girl who just started a new job, fresh out of college.
Yeah, here it is. I'm going to play it for you guys, then we're going to read the comments. It's very short.
So dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9-to-5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me fucking forever to get there. There's no way I'm gonna be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, fucking duh! If I was able to walk to work, and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till, like, 6:15 earliest, and then, like, I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just, like, the 9-to-5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9-to-5, like, if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But, like, I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and, like people that drive to the office, like, you don't get off at 5, and I know it could be worse. I
I love how she goes like, and you don't get off at 5. You have to drive home. Yeah. Welcome to life, lady. I don't know what to tell you.
That's really the best answer.
This is what drives me nuts, though. The comments are so, I don't know the right word, because I feel sorry for these people.
Well, and to be fair, what she's voicing, right, is what all young people kind of think when they're young. They're like, God, I really don't have any time to do it, because you just got done, like, you lived with your parents. You pretty much did whatever the hell you wanted, as far you had to do homework sometimes. But yeah, the reality of life is that there's not a ton of time, really.
No, guys, it's a racket. It's the system we live in. But, like, I love this.
But you do it, though.
But you gotta do it. Yeah. The first comment: the 40-hour work week is beyond outdated, and your feelings are totally valid. It's so repetitive and depressing. I feel you, girl. To all the people saying it gets better, no, it doesn't.
That may be true.
Yeah, that's right. It's soul crushing. Like, honestly feels like a prison sentence. Oh my God.
Give me that free money. What happened to COVID?
Like, imagine having kids to come home to after that. Gen Z needs to collectively move into management positions and collectively enforce a 4-day work week. I mean, like,
5 hours.
None of these comments are anything but supportive and black-pilled. It's crazy.
That's because these are kids who voted for their school president to get them free soda and everything else, and they want life to be all about all the free stuff they can do without having to put any effort into it.
Yeah, here's one. Welcome to adulthood. Yeah, that's the best comment so far. It's nuts. I don't.
You're on false comment. Entitled. That's it.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Entitled. I think all young people should experience. I mean, this is like the theme of our video today. I went down to Mexico with our dad when you were little and I was probably 12 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw the conditions that human beings lived in, cardboard boxes, eating off of the floor, living in dirt, and that completely changed
Right.
how I felt about the way I lived. I'm like, oh shit, I'm like really lucky.
Right.
Like we just live in a middle class lifestyle, but my God, I'm so lucky, and that stuck with me the rest of my life. And I think every kid needs some experience like that, and it's healthy to see really how well you're living, because America, no matter where you're watching us now, whether you're in America or Australia or Canada or UK or whatever,
Right.
there are some places on this planet that we would not want to live
Right.
because the conditions are horrible.
Horrible.
And
Yeah.
the young people have no idea how lucky they are to be able to walk to McDonald's down the street and buy something, or sleep in a bed under warm covers at night. It's really crazy that everybody should have the experience that most of the world's population lives in squalor conditions.
Right. Yeah. Now, on that note, I do understand that our society has been pushed to this point where, I mean, like literally, like we talked about before, elementary school, middle school, high school, college are just designed to train the next generation of people to work 9 to 5, right?
Mm.
It's pretty much, let's design the next generation to be competent enough, but not too smart, but smart enough to operate our factories and just work 9 to 5 and take your 15-minute break and take your lunch and be happy where you're at and don't worry about moving forward or getting better, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I understand that's where we live. And I understand it sucks having to work that much. I also, though, have had 2 jobs, and I have also worked 80 hours a week. And I've also slept in a closet to attempt just to get to a better place in life. So it's hard for me to see this person complaining about taking the train to and from work. Like,
Or complain about it, but then shut up and do it, or find a way to make it better.
I did that too. I took a train to and from Orange to LA every day for 5 years because I couldn't afford a car. And then when I got to LA, I walked 15 blocks to work 9 to 5, and then run back to the train station in Alameda so I can catch the last train back to Orange, or I was stuck in LA for the night. Yeah. I did that for 5 years. It sucks, but I did it, and I got to the point where I didn't have to do it anymore, and I stopped doing it. People on those comments saying, people are saying it gets better, it doesn't. No, that's bullshit. Because it does get better if you sacrifice and work toward better. Now, listen, it might get worse before it gets better, for sure.
It probably will. Yeah.
And it probably will. And you might, I've had bad week. Shane and I have had bad luck. You might have bad luck and it might get worse after it gets better. But life is about progressing and moving forward. You can complain about it, but don't let that completely ruin you to the point where you don't even want to try anymore. Or just join OnlyFans and figure it out from there.
Although they can make a lot of money on there.
Oh, you can make a lot of money on OnlyFans, yeah.
So
she ain't ugly, that's for sure.
Let's see your news of the weird. No, wait. Weekly weird.
Come on.
I got it. I got it.
All right. This week on Weekly Weird, here are 5 headlines. Shane gets to pick one that we will explore more deeper.
I haven't seen these.
The first headline is Swifties swarm a restaurant to catch a glimpse of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, but it turns out to just be mannequins or scarecrows dressed like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Interesting. Okay. That's an interesting one.
Here we go.
Next
Michigan State deeply sorry after Hitler image appears on video on the video boards before the game.
That's stupid. Okay, next.
Survey says it's getting too expensive to have fun.
That's true. Next.
Pole dancing skeleton causes uproar in Utah. Town says not acceptable.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Famous Twitch star and OnlyFans star Caitlin Amaranth Sagarsi reveals her new beer company made out of her own vaginal yeast.
Winner! Ding, 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 ding.
That is why I read that one last, because that one is so insane to me.
Beer vaginal yeast.
Yes.
Okay.
So
yes.
so the way you make beer is with yeast. Okay.
Jesus.
And
I don't even want you to finish saying
Amaranth. I recognize her photo, but I don't recognize her. I recognize her name, but not her photo. I guess I'm
let's
not
pull
a
up
fan.
the image.
This is Amaranth. She's a famous Twitch and Kick and OnlyFans person. I guess she did like streaming, and then she moved to OnlyFans.
Okay.
A lot of people like her. So Amaranth has taken the internet by storm with her hot tub streams, shock investments, and partnerships.
Hot tub streams, Jesus.
That's what Twitch for a long time. The most popular meta was just girls in bikinis and hot tubs for no reason.
I get it. There are young guys out there.
I get it. Yeah, they're just getting thousands of dollars in donation, offering literally nothing to the world.
Nothing. Yeah.
And partnerships to sell everything from fart jars to her own bathwater.
Wait, this is the bathwater girl?
This is the no. The original bathwater girl was Belle Delphine.
Okay.
She's the one who invented the gamer girl bathwater.
Yeah.
This chick, Amaranth, jumped on the trend.
Got it.
But she did sell fart jars.
Listen, a fart is a fart, no matter how gorgeous the person is farting.
Look at
a fart is a fart.
She was selling cutie patooties.
Oh my Lord!
It was jars of her farts,
and I bet she sold thousands of them. I bet she sold thousands.
Oh, yeah.
You dudes out there that bought
people
that shit,
spending thousands on Amaranth's fart jars because, of course, they are.
That's the best headline I've ever seen.
Yeah. All right. So her profits resulted in the 28-year-old buying a gas station, a 7-Eleven, and buying millions in stock.
She's fucking genius.
Yeah, she's
genius, bro. That's genius. Take money that goes nowhere to turn it into recurring income. Fantastic.
So what's next for our genius OnlyFans model? In an exclusive interview with Dextero, the OnlyFans model was asked how she had previously teased a new drink following the success of Paul Logan and KSI's Prime. So remember, Paul Logan created a drink called Prime. It's an energy drink.
And let me tell you, before we go into her, just really quick, every kid on the planet wants to drink Prime.
Yep.
I've tasted it. It does not taste good. Excellent marketing by YouTubers, and that's how you just kill it. I mean, every kid wants to drink it because it's ridiculous.
You know what Prime tastes like? It tastes like it tastes like Kool-Aid, but if Kool-Aid was made with like fake sugar, sucrose.
Yeah, that's exactly what it tastes like.
There's nothing special about it at all. It just tastes like shitty Kool-Aid. But people are drinking
it because other kids are saying, I got Prime. And now every kid wants Prime. And it's become a whole thing. My kids want Prime. It's ridiculous.
All right. So Suragosa confirmed that she'll be working with a new company to produce this beer. They have a history of using models' smears for quite a few years now.
Smears?
Her exact words was, I'm actually working with a beverage company. It's not my own. I'm still doing the project. There's a beer company. They're European. They want me to send in my vaginal yeast. Like basically a pap smear myself. They want to make beer using my vaginal yeast.
Jesus. That is a weekly weird story, brother.
I quit.
Listen, we can send you some shit-stained underwear.
This isn't worth it anymore. I don't want to do this. I think this is our last show.
Well, yeah. Well,
all right. Well,
I don't even know what to say about it. Like,
I had a hard time paying my electricity bill this month.
What flavor is that? What flavor is that, bro? What flavor is vaginal yeast?
It's amaranth flavor, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what flavor is that? At what point are you just disgusting? It's all
crazy. Who would want to drink that? Who would want to drink that?
a party joke. I mean, it was the same thing. What was the one with what's her name's like candles that smell like her vagina? Gwyneth Paltrow. Like she was literally selling candles that smelled like her vagina.
Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
Gwyneth, yeah, she
sold tons of them.
Yeah, Goop. That was the name of her company, Goop.
Do you know who was buying those candles? It wasn't dudes. That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
It was women
Chicks
buying
were
those
buying
candles. Chicks were buying
Gwyneth
Paltrow vagina smelling candles.
Sorry, quick. You can shame me right now because I said Paul Logan. I meant Logan Paul. Thank you, John.
Yeah, that's all this. Listen, those guys have so much depth that you just call them whatever name you want.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say those guys.
Marketing geniuses, but I don't know exactly. Somebody else must be helping them. I've watched their videos. They don't seem to be crushing the IQ meter all the time.
No, they're not.
Someone's helping them.
No, they're stupid as shit. I don't understand why anyone would watch them. They're super dumb. Everything they do is annoying. It has like this air of immaturity to it, and like I'm immature, but they're so immature that it pains me to watch. It actually like my soul hurts. My like the inside of me crawls with little goosebumps every time that fucking guy's face appears on YouTube. But you know what? Good on him. He's making a lot of money.
Well, yeah, he made it work somehow. He cashed into our idiocracy culture.
All right, let's do some supers before we move on here. No Money G for $5. You'll have to watch the video of the girl who suffers from time blindness. You'll have to watch. Okay, we'll watch that.
Well, let's do that in the member section. That's great.
We will watch that. We have a lot of things to watch in the member section. I like this. I like this trend. You keep suggesting things. John Burns, 279. Thank you, No Money G. John Burns for 279. Unsure how Hayden C felt about younglings. That's how he felt.
Hayden Christensen must look back and go, "Damn, that was harsh." Like, you know, he was just trying to make a buck at the time.
I saw a video of him, and I almost feel bad because like I really gave him a hard time, and he came up after that the really dumb kid that did that first movie. Hayden didn't do a bad job, but he was trying to make up for that really poor outing for the first little kid. And I think in hindsight, I can look back after years and be like, it wasn't his fault. Like he did the best he could with what he was given. So yeah. I feel bad about hating him for so long. He wasn't the problem.
Yeah. I mean, the worst part about the prequels is, you know, Jar Jar and the first Anakin Skywalker. I mean, really, honestly, it's the worst part of it.
He's a Jedi.
Just stop, man. It is the worst. I mean,
it's so incredibly racist too. Like it really is racist, and no one wants to admit how racist.
Is it racist? Because here's the thing: like there really are people who are Rastafarians, and the only idiot Rastafarian was Jar Jar. All the other ones were smart and fine. Jar Jar was the only fool.
Smart as a stretch.
No, they were the Gugdens. They had a society, and they came in support of the people, and they weren't all foolish. But that one was. Is that really racist, or has our society gotten to the point where if we mention anything stereotypical, now that makes you racist?
Yeah, I guess you got your point there. I really wish they would have continued with Jar Jar Binks and made him a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord. Yeah, the theory that came about would have helped quite a bit.
Yeah, that would have that would have fixed that character.
I think so.
From Rex Thoughts, my boy Rex, he identifies as a camera. Remember that. For $5, he says, we purposely expose our kids with public service to needy in our community to teach them how good we got it.
I love that. That should be a requirement. Problem in our society here in California is that the needy in our community, they aren't necessarily the needy, and they're like the strung out drug addicts who are like begging on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we're struggling in California with our qualification of needy.
Yeah, we did a soup kitchen one year. It was like when they were like 10, I think. A few years ago. 2 years ago, I think. I don't know when. Okay. But we went to do the soup kitchen thing. We're like, we're gonna do the soup kitchen. It was the day before Thanksgiving. and we wanted to show we basically wanted to show our kids the same thing that our dad showed us. And Shane's story about going to Mexico, I had the same story. He would take us to Mexico to feed the people down there. We would go down there with thousands of pounds of like candy and toys and crap, and we would hand them out. And listen, it was terrifying. I remember like hundreds of dirty, malnutrition children coming up to the car and screaming their hands out. They were happy, and we were handing candy to people. And like, I remember being like the middle class guy from California thinking like, holy shit, I'm so lucky to be here.
Right.
When I get home, I'm going to do all my chores, Dad.
Right.
It was bad. Well, so I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my kids to a soup kitchen for Thanksgiving. I'm not going to go quite as crazy as taking them to Mexico to an orphan. I stayed at an orphanage in Mexico for a weekend. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Go at 13 years old, go to Mexico and stay at an orphanage. You will never not appreciate your life after that, because anything is better than that. So I'm at a soup kitchen with my kids, and I'm thinking I'm going to show them like, the needy, except for every person coming through there looked completely normal.
Right.
And they were like younger people, and they were clearly on drugs. Like I can tell, but my kids can't tell. They were like tweaking out, and it was not at all the experience that I had when I was a kid. It wasn't truly down on their luck people having the worst time of their lives. It was people gaming the system. And it gave the wrong impression. Like, bro, I'm almost positive my youngest, more sarcastic, sassy kid was like, I want to go to the soup kitchen. This soup looks good.
Right.
I'm like, what are you doing?
I want to live on the side of the road.
It didn't work. It didn't
I
work.
want to make dollars hanging on the side of the road.
Did not work, man. But a good thought. John Burns, 279, Dr. Phil Cyberg video in member section. Okay. I don't know what that is, but I'll cue that up, my dude.
Also, John Burns, 279, Brian, take the last train to video and member section. Take the last train to Orange. We don't finish it. Everything's in the member section.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to end our segment with that. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Another one for John Burns. Masturbation too expensive, not fun.
That was our discussion about everything being too expensive.
Yep. Another one from John Burns, 279. Thank you, John. Vaginal yeast beer, the cause of COVID-19. Oh God, it was Amarat the whole time.
That's gross. And you're on fall for SEK 20. Thank you so much. Misa want to smell Brian's boom boom pants. No, you need to jar your farts, Brian. That's what it is. Jar your farts.
Cutie patooties. Nerd toots.
So wrong.
I'm gonna start sounding fart. YouTube nerd toots. Yeah, but see, if I sent it through the mail, I would go to jail for sending dangerous substances in the mail.
Toxic.
John Burns, Brian, blessed to George, no noises while you speak. I don't know what that means, John. Well, thank you.
Oh,
okay.
This has been great. So I think we need to go to the member section. We've had a lot of fun here today talking about stuff going on. We thank you guys for coming and showing up and spending time with us. We are going to continue to be here every Friday at 10 o'clock. And we'll continue the member section. We are considering more shows throughout the week. And once we get there, we'll let you guys know where we're at. Today's stream hero, I don't know if Brian was paying attention to who it was. I did not. I have a hard time seeing it on my screen. Who's in the stream hero?
Yeah. John Burns dominated it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Got to be 100% because it changed time. It changed hands several times.
Yeah, I mean, we can go back and look to make sure, and we'll post it in the community section. So
yeah, so stand by. We'll because it was close this time. We will evaluate it, and I'll reach out to you for your prize. whichever one of you folks who was on there the longest during the stream. So thank you so much for supporting us, and we appreciate you guys so much.
We also got a super chat on the members section, because remember the members section is going alongside this. From Michael Nemo, he said, "Hey guys, I still haven't gotten the Indiana Jones diary. Can I get a Popcast fart jar instead?"
Oh, I have another. No, I have another diary. I'll check on that, Michael. I'll check on that, because you should have gotten yours.
I'm getting you a Popcast fart jar, Mike.
Brian, he's just going to fart in a jar and send it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I will do that. Okay, guys. We are going to the members section. I'm sorry. Wait, let me do this right. What was it? All right. So we're going to take the last train to the members section. This is how you get here. It's pretty simple. You can click on the link in the description. You can, literally do nothing, and it will send you there. But there are two member sections. This is actually very important. There are two member sections. There is the member section at Prime and the member section here on Unleashed, and we are streaming in both. So if you are a member of the Unleashed one, then that video is going to pop up right now after this one, and you can go there. So click on our channel. If you're a member of the Prime version, then you can just stay here and it'll just take you there. If you are not a member and you want to become a member, click on that video when it gets there and click on join and support the show and become a member. The member section is great. It's warm because Shane farts in it.
You can click the join button on either channel. It'll take you to the same member show. So
it's the same show. We streamed at both channels at the same time. One day, YouTube will allow us to combine members, but until then, we stream on both. We didn't want to leave the awesome members we had on our other channel before we started this one. So, guys, we love you so much. And if you can't join us in the members section, we understand. No problem. It's, those Amaranth fart jars are expensive. We get it. But if you can join us, it'd be great. And if you can't, then we'll be back next Friday at 10 a.m. And we're going to do this every week. We hope to add more shows as time permits. And we're just having a great time doing it. I like the new time. Shane, you like the new time?
Yeah, I'm digging it. And it gives us a chance to watch the movies on Thursday night so we can talk about them on Friday. So hopefully we're catching you guys before you run over to Friday Night Tights. So that's great.
Okay, guys, we're going to the member section. We love you so much. Hopefully we see you there. If not, then have a great weekend. And adios, nerds.